is this? What is this? I tapped in the toque. Let me open the bag. Oh, wait, no. That's good. Ooh, nice cap. A nice cap. Yeah. Yeah. The deal on this side is you guys look at because if you guys want to drink at the bar, you have been asking about the people like that. You need to buy your coupon at the cash. Okay? And tous les profits qu'on vend avec la bière vont à la fondation Boulder Montréal. Yes. Cette finale est présentée par On-Site. The government is there. On-Site? Ooh, yeah. On-Site? Your partner, the no face. Scaffa. Dimension. Did it hold? Flat. Organic. That's what we do in the City Central. Et la bière Boulder. Un gros applaudissement, s'il vous plaît, à toute l'équipe et à toute l'équipe de Bloc. Un journée qui était ici à 7 heures du matin. 7 o'clock on point. On point that you wake up to the kids, do the breakfast, do the bath, take some diapers, and come right here. Cheers. Merci. Change your mind. So quick. Stop the workshop. OK. Donc, quelle heure il est? Ouh. On va commencer la finale avec le podium de la catégorie Citizen. Alors, qui a participé au Citizen ici? On les applaudit, s'il vous plaît. On les applaudit. Okay. Si je comprends bien, OK? Le Citizen, c'est une catégorie que moi je peux participer, c'est ça? Exactly. It's like any climber that wants to go in the competition, they may go in. So that means if I will do the Citizen, I will end up the very last. No. I know what I'm capable of and I know what I'm not capable of. Okay? So good work to all the climbers. Bravo à tous les grimpeurs. Parce que j'ai la liste ici du Citizen. Malheureusement, unfortunate, I'm just going to call the top 3. Ouais. Mais, les résultats ils vont être affichés à côté des règlements, at the front door. Okay, so all the scores are lined up at the front door, right there, and I see them in front of me. Okay. J'aimerais appeler Chloé et Fred pour faire le podium Citizen. Faites du bruit, Bloc Shop.
And gentlemen, welcome to the Bloc Shop Open 2018. Pete Woods here with Phil Lantier. We are going to bring you the finals tonight. We have got a great show for you guys. I promise. We had a good look at all the boulders earlier. Climbers are all in ISO. We have great fields. We have Canadians on both sides, a few more on the men's side than the women's side. We've got a great representation. This comp in its second year is already becoming something to come and see. So sit tight on the live stream. We're going to be about 15 minutes until the athlete's presentation. But we have definitely got a show for you guys tonight. Phil, how are we doing tonight?
On file bien, hein? On est heureux à Montréal. Bienvenue à Montréal, tout le monde. À Bloc Shop, on a des grimpeurs de calibre international. On a des ouvreurs de calibre international. Puis ça va être fabuleux.
Oui, absolument. On va faire un peu plus de français cette année que l'année passée. We're a bilingual country.
That's
so,
right.
We want to try and bring a little bit of French back to you guys, so we are going to try and speak a little bit of French. They're going through the noise in the background you hear. They're doing the results from the Citizens Comp earlier today. So we're going to show you guys a little bit earlier this evening. I spoke to Tonde Katillo, one of the chiefs, along with Jackie Goda, a longtime friend of mine, and I wanted to ask him a few questions about route setting in general, trying to bring route setters back into the forefront. We always look at their boulders. We know that it's an integral part of a competition, but I've been talking more and more with route setters about the process and the ideas behind it, and I just wanted to show you guys a little window into the route setting side of things. So we're going to have a quick look at that while we're waiting for the presentations. Guys, we're here before the finals of the Bloc Shop Open 2018. One of my oldest climbing friends, Tonde Katillo, how are you?
I am great.
Welcome back to Montreal.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a few questions because I want to bring some more interest and development into route setting into the conversations we have. We talk about the climbers, we always interview the climbers, and I want to talk a little bit more about the process and the things that are interesting. So I wrote down a couple things that came to mind when I think about you and a long time that I've known you. Pioneer, teacher, creative, intense, measured, happy, logical, calm. Is there anything else you would throw in there? How do you think you approach this sport?
Uncertain, afraid, worried, perplexed, confused, happy fits. I really love what I do, but for sure I'm happiest when I'm doing things that are new and different. And because of the development of climbing and the number of people who are creative and smart in the sport right now, it's getting hard. Like coming up with new boulder ideas or new just things that are better or more original that have been done before is getting challenging, but I like the challenge.
And that's what I like seeing in the pioneer, the workhorse part of route setting is staying ahead of the sport and giving the climbers something they haven't seen before. So what comes first for you, the idea or the holds? Do you see the holds, you get inspired, or you have an idea and then you find the holds to make it work?
I think it's people and movement are much more important ideas for me. Holds are great, but at the moment, actually, I think holds are more a hindrance to route setting than anything else. There's a lot of repetition, there's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of prominent brands which make fantastic holds, but the problem is a lot of route setters are defaulting to the holds to do their setting, and I want to see new original things with flat holds, with Cheetah, with Squadra. You know, it would be, and all the while the holds are richer and more diverse than they've ever before. So it's absolutely not on the hold makers. I think they're doing a great job. I think in the bounce contest between creativity, the hold makers are winning right now, and the setters need to step it up and find the limits of the new things.
So I know that you're a fan of tweaking holds. You're a fan of, you've made some holds, you've made some volumes that look the same but climb differently. Is there any interest in you collaborating or working or starting a hold company of your own?
No.
Easy answer. I also want to, I mean, you obviously have to be a creative person. Is this your only creative outlet, or do you have other ways that your creativity comes out in your life outside of climbing?
I have kids.
So your fridge artwork is up to snuff. Yeah. So what inspires you? What keeps you? You've been route setting for as long as I've known you, and you've been one of the best route setters I've ever known for as long as I've known you. So how do you stay inspired day in and day out?
I'm not always inspired. I think inspiration is something that you have to cultivate, and I do recognize that there's moments in my route setting. Actually, this year I was pretty uninspired, but I understand why. Like, I wasn't setting and climbing as much. I was stressed with other things in my life, and it's very hard to produce creative things in that context. So I think it would be good that there's more professional support for the creative side of route setting, workshops or, you know, opportunities. For sure, one of the biggest inspirations for me is rock climbing. Like, as soon as I go climbing, I'm automatically like amped up again. So, but you know, it's not really it's still a side practice in the professional realm, and I think I'd like to see that more integrated. It's hard to do, it's expensive, it's weird, it's new, it's challenging, you know, and it's hard to quantify when you're spending money on it. It's like, am I not just sending my setters on a vacation? But I think it's very important, and especially if we want the quality of the climbing to stay high in competitions and in climbing gyms.
One word answer. Watching competitors climb your boulders makes you feel...
Happy.
Nice. And I got a couple last little quick fire. Crimps or pinches?
Crimps.
Old school or new school?
Both.
Volumes or a clean wall with just holds on it?
Whatever's not on the other boulder.
Fair enough. House set or comp set?
Both.
House set or comp set? What's more fun?
Sorry, both.
All right, fair enough. Jazz or hip hop?
Oh, both.
A well-rounded individual. They're bad questions. Dude, I am always psyched to see you at a comp. I'm glad we've known each other for as long as we have, and I've been able to climb on and watch people climbing on your boulders for the better part of 25 years. And Bloc Shop Open 2018, finals look great. You feel good about it?
I do feel good about it. It's always a gamble. It's always a little, you know, intimidating. You make a proposal, you put an intention, and is it going to work? It never works out exactly the way you want it to, but you hope the intention creates some positivity and something special that we can't anticipate. So yeah, I'm super excited, and I also wanted to throw in thank you for being involved in the sport for so long, because I think commentary, the live streams, the video, all this work that we're doing around the sport is also helping to elevate and grow it. So
we're getting there. So the boulders are set. Really, there's nothing to do but sit down, wait, have a beer, watch your work come to fruition. Dude, thanks for hanging out.
It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, welcome back. We are less than 10 minutes away from the athletes' presentation. We're going to bring out all 6 of these guys, and then they're going to get their preview. So as you know, if you've watched any finals in the last few years, that they get 2 minutes to preview each boulder as a group, and then directly after that, they're going to start climbing. So about 10 minutes ago, we could talk probably for hours and hours and hours about the state of climbing and where we're going and what we're at. And we were talking earlier, Phil and I were talking about the spread of the season and how what we end up with is comps like this, which are unsanctioned. They're comps for to bring in international athletes. They're comps to bring local athletes and get a super high standard of competition at home. Big money purses, which is getting more common but still very rare. But you're in a season that almost never ends.
No, and that's what's really impressive for, you know, the athletes themselves. You know, trying to maintain and peak throughout all that and come in and perform on a stage like the Bloc Shop Open.
And you were saying earlier that you had watched Alex Kazanov in some of his World Cup wins this year, and how he looked just like he didn't have the same level of peak power that he might have had in the heart of the World Cup season.
Yeah, well, he was one of numerous male athletes that came out this year and had a first win. It was very diversified as far as podiums were and victories were this year on the World Cup circuit for the men. And I think when he won in China, he was just, you know, crushing all the boulders, and he looked like, you know, a tired guy yesterday, and I can understand that, because I think the season is so drawn out that I mean, I just think about my own climbing capabilities, and I just don't know how they maintain, you know, fitness and form throughout the season. And I think that's a big issue when you're thinking about preparation for, you know, athletes that want to probably think about the Olympics. and how they're going to fit all these unsanctioned comps into their schedule.
Yeah, and how that training is going to look like. And the World Cup season itself for bouldering is not that long, but every country has a different setup time. And until we are at a point where everybody's goal is to compete on the World Cup or try and have a team or a spot on the World Cup, we're not going to have that alignment. So I know in Canada our season starts, this comp is just barely out of season, but the athletes that are competing on the Canadian sanctioned circuit are climbing from about November until about March, and then the World Cup starts in end of April, May. So it's a long time in May, and it runs through until almost August, and now you're looking at only a month or two off. And most professional sports where people who are climbing or training, people who are doing their other sport, competing or training, have a significant off season in which to have some downtime. And right now it seems like climbers from other countries don't get that downtime in preparation for a World Cup season. And if you're doing boulder and lead, the
and now
lead season
speed
is still going, right? I mean, there was a World Cup in Cronge this weekend, and I think there's at least one more.
Yeah, and you see athletes like Jakob Schubert or Janja Gardenbrink that are doing both those disciplines and are also going to try to get in on speed. And
then have to come home and compete in their own country to get back on their national team for the start of the next season. I have a gentle worry that we don't have our timing down right, and we're going to burn out athletes while they start to try and get more and more focused on doing both disciplines.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think there's going to be a lot of experimentation running up to Tokyo, the 2020 Olympics, and after that we'll see how things change. But I'm seeing a lot of evolution already in preparation, and I think things will get clarified as we go along.
Yeah, and you'll see which athletes are focusing on both disciplines. And I don't think that the World Cup is going to change its season. You can't run them concurrently. You can't run bouldering and lead like back-to-back weekends. They have to be one season and then the other season. So they're going to figure it out. And it's people that want to do both disciplines are just going to have to turn that crank up a little bit.
It is now.
All right, guys. We're going to run commercials the same way we did during the semifinal. We're trying to get better and better and better live streams for you guys. So what that means is that we have to start giving our sponsors some airtime, not just time on the wall, not just mentions. So bear with us. The commercials are short. We're going to run them throughout the finals. We're going to endeavor to not have you miss any of the action. I think we did really well during the semifinal, considering how much excitement there is during the semi, and we didn't miss anything there. So we definitely appreciate the sponsors. This round is presented by Onsite. We're going to run through them for you. They're going to pop a few times, but we're partnered with the North Face and Onsite. We got a gold level sponsor, that's Scarpa. Silver level sponsors, that's Dimension Holds, Delir Holds, Morpho, Flashed, Organic, and the Société de Développement Commercial, the District Central in this area. And then we have a beer sponsor. Of course we have a beer sponsor. It's Glutenberg. And we would be remiss not to put a huge thank you out to the Bloc Shop organization, their team, their route setters, their facility. If you have ever been here, you know that it's a top-end gym. And you always clamor for the top-end gyms to host comps like this, but remember the amount of effort it takes to do that. So huge thank you to the Bloc Shop. If you're in here, you live in Montreal, and you're in here in the next couple of months, come by and thank somebody for the effort they put in.
Absolutely.
All right. People are getting loud in here. In theory, we are 1 minute away from the athletes' presentation. Yesterday, we were off by 5 whole minutes on our climbing start time. So maybe today we'll be right.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, so about, we're expecting around 600 people here in Bloc Shop, which I don't even know how they're going to fit all that many people in here, but you can hear it's getting rowdier, and there's not even been one single climber out yet.
There hasn't been a single climber out yet. So people always love, they yell for stuff. So there's lots of things to give away. A lot of that comes from the sponsors. That's a huge part of keeping people interested in getting your name back out there is getting your brand out, and people in this room, who doesn't like free stuff?
No one hates that, and you know, we got MC Step too, who's actually a b-boy. You know, there was actually yesterday here in Montreal, there was a b-boy battle because one of the people that works at Bloc Shop is a b-boy, and he's like, I would really like that our two cultures could, you know, meet up and have b-boying and climbing just gel and mix together. And I don't know if they necessarily mixed well, but definitely the b-boys came on with a lot of style, and it was really, really fun.
It's cool, and we like to see people who are good at other things be interested in climbing, and you get that at festival-style comps. The Jackalope that runs here every year. I was lucky to be part of the FEES event that runs through Europe every year, and it's mostly BMX, it's mostly skateboarding, but they've added these climbing events, and they get a huge crowd who's now getting exposure to climbing comps that they wouldn't normally get. So it's fine that we always have our own people coming and watching our own finals, but if we can broaden that field out, we're getting there.
And climbing's getting so much more popular.
Okay, we got our athletes coming out right now. So you probably can't hear over there. So our first in 6th place on the men's side, Jorg Verhoeven, and 6th place on the women's side, Nora Chi. Nora Chi, for the record, 14 years old, climbing in a finals.
Yeah, coming out from New York City. And really an impressive climber. I think for many of you at home, it's going to be a first time to get a look at this athlete. She's really young and has packs a punch for such a young and shorter climber. And it'll be really interesting to see how she'll do tonight.
Absolutely. Next up, we got Alyssa Weber, and we got Raymond Hansen, a young man from the United States as well.
Alyssa being a climber coming out of BC, the lone Canadian female in the finals.
Calgary, coming from Calgary.
Damn, another mistake.
That's all right. It's only one. It's only one. Last year's champion, Melissa Lineve, and then Sébastien Lazure, local strongman, and also spent some time on the World Cup stage in the last 2 seasons.
Coming out 4th for the ladies, Petra Klingler from Switzerland. Someone I think we're all used to seeing in finals of climbing comps, and so always a very smiling but strong presence in these finals for Petra, and we're really happy to have her here in this finals. So another local climber, but actually originally from Botswana, Falco Filato. He's representing Bloc Shop. He's on the team here with Seb Lazure, and so we've got a local Montreal contingent on the men's side. And for the ladies, coming out 5th, Katharina Sauerwein out of Austria. Again, someone that's just been competing for over a decade on the IFSC World Cups and has been able to transfer her skills outdoors. So we're really happy to have her as well. And coming out 5th for the men, the reigning champion of the Bloc Shop Open, the inaugural edition. We have Michael Mawem out of France.
Seeing if he can repeat this year. I know he's psyched for it, that's for sure. All right, and your top qualifier on the ladies' side, Kyra Condi, a young lady from St. Paul, Minnesota, who basically just ripped 4 boulders down yesterday during the semifinal. Super strong, super smooth, just a fantastic climber. She'll be exciting to see here. And for the gentlemen, Nathaniel Coleman is your top qualifier. He also climbed, I mean, as you would expect to have been a top semifinalist coming into the finals, climbed exceptionally well yesterday.
Yeah, Nathaniel topping 3 of 4 strong and hard boulders for the men, and actually came really close to topping boulder number 3 in the semifinals, which gave everybody a hard time.
And one of the few men to do number 4.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we are going to go through the preview. You guys know we're going to give you a brief overview of the rules. So what we got, 4 minutes on each boulder. They're going to climb them one after another. So 1 male and 1 female climber come out on boulder number 1, and they're going to run until their time is up, and then they're all going to go through. So all 6 climbers on boulder 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. So they get about 20 minutes of rest. If everybody flashes everything, they get about 8 minutes of rest. But what they've got is a longer rest, so they get more tries on these boulders, and they get the potential to set slightly harder boulders. So we talked at length. We watched them put these boulders up. We watched them tweak them. We talked with Tonde, and we talked with Jackie. So Tonde chiefed the ladies' side of the boulders, and Jackie chiefed the men's side. And an interesting layout for them to say, hey, we're in charge of one group for one gender for both rounds, and give them a different approach, something new, a chance to focus. So far, it's worked really well. So I'm going to give you the rundown on the women's side, and Phil is going to give you the rundown on the men's side. So women's boulder number 1, this is a high-risk boulder. It's not super physical, but it requires really good footwork, and it requires some commitment to this sort of risky move across the middle. We're not going to give away all the bait until we see some of the guys climb it, but this is the idea. So these guys come in with an idea, and this is the idea behind boulder number 1, was they wanted to be not super physical, but they wanted to be involved, foot intensive, risky.
Yeah, and on the men's side for number 1, so Jackie Godoff and his team set this one. It's basically, you can see a lot of volumes that are sort of protruding out from the wall because they did a bit of craftiness, some bricolage by, sticking a couple of volumes together. And so it's supposed to be a bit unsettling because it's not something that they'll necessarily be used to. So we'll see how it goes. Expecting a couple of tops on this one, but we'll see how they do.
Yeah, it always comes down to you must climb the boulders. So the route setters have an idea of what they want to see in terms of breaking the round down. The most important thing is they want to elicit the type of style and the emotion and the behavior and the movement, and then obviously they need to split the field. So they're hoping for about the right number of tops that they're looking for. All of those pieces mesh together. Route setting is mathematics. There's science in here. There's lots of feeling. There's lots of creativity. But the goal is to produce a winner.
Yeah, and get some spread. So for boulders number 2 that we can see here, on the men's side, it's a boulder that is going to test climbers in their comfort zone, because you have, apart from a few shadow feet that you probably can't see right now because there are a couple of athletes in the way, but they are gray, just like the volumes that they're screwed on.
I don't know that you're going to be seeing them even once the athletes move out of the way.
Exactly. And, we had a hard time seeing them even if we were up close earlier on. So, so what Jackie was telling us about this boulder is it's going to test their ability to sort of trust their feet and be really insecure the whole way through. The bonus is high up, and, you can see that the volumes have been capped. That's so that, the athletes can't grab the tops of those triangular volumes. And so it's going to really be a lot about smearing, stemming, and really just getting your way up there.
And on the women's side, we have a really interesting jump move. So there's a huge jug on the corner of that volume. They got to tap their feet to start, and then they're swinging, and it's about commitment. So the jump is more of a core movement than it is a jump movement. So they're swinging from that big hold, and then it's going to be a lot of core to stay onto the wall. So the movement itself is not that difficult, but it's going to take some coordination to get it done. Following that is a bunch of very small crimps, all blocked by each other. The sequence of grabbing them matters. Your left and right and left is going to definitely play a part. If you make the wrong first movement, very difficult to recover from. So, big volumes, big move, followed by small crimps. So an interesting mix to try and play on the ladies to say, hey, look, we're going to give you some really big holds and a big volume movement, and then we're going to make you all of a sudden put your crimp down and get to the top of this boulder. All right, so we'll scooch all the way along. So if you look at women's number 3, it looks like it goes on forever. There's tons and tons of holds on it, and that gives you options. So this one is about finding the sequence. It's not necessarily really obvious where to grab volume style holds, even though there's chalk on them. You slide along, you slide a little bit high, you slide a little bit lower, you grab that big sloper, maybe you twist, maybe you don't. So getting the sequence right is either going to take a lot out of you if you try and do it in one try, or it's going to take you multiple tries to get there. It is a more physical type of boulder. More tries, more tired. I think this is probably the hardest boulder for the ladies. It's super intensive. If you look at the top, you just got to work your way through those last 3 or 4 not very good slopers. It's hard. You got to get after it, and it's going to take a lot out of you.
Yeah, definitely. On the men's side, they're the ones that are lucky enough to have a problem on the typical block shop slab. So for this boulder here, you know, Jackie was telling us he doesn't expect it to be that difficult, you know, compared to the other ones that were a bit more power intensive, but it is very delicate. The holds, the bonus hold is non-existent, and it's all about, you know, being able to generate core strength while, you know, having your feet high up on the slab. So really bouncy, and it's going to, you know, test people on a technical level to get to the top.
We watched him with that, I'm going to use the word hold very loosely. The bonus item that is bolted to the wall, he was sanding down a foothold to make it less and less and less usable. They don't want them to actually use that hold, but they need to give them a bonus because that's the way we score the boulders. That hold is, it's not a hold. It just exists to get your thumb on. Most of the momentum generation is going to have to come from your legs and your core as you shift over. But wonderful, I mean, it was awesome. He was just standing there with a big piece of sandpaper, shaving down
Yeah.
the worst foothold you've ever seen to begin with. Mark, my friend Mark Dirksen is back looking for predictions for the podiums.
And
so
we told him yesterday that we wouldn't give him.
I told him we would.
But yesterday he didn't want to give him out yesterday. But
No,
now we're in a space where we have to.
So I'm going to call it. I'm going to put Cara Condi on top. I'm going to go Melissa Leneve in second, and I'm going to pull Alyssa Weber for last year 4th place. I'm going to say she pulled it out because she's from my hometown. I'm going to put Alyssa Weber 3rd on the podium. On the men's side, I'm going to go Nathaniel Coleman. Then I'm going to go Seb Lazur. And then I'm going to go Mika Mawem.
Yeah, that's a good podium for the men. I'm with you on that one. For the ladies, I would say most probably Melissa Leneve repeating, then Cara Condi 2nd, and then Petra Klingler 3rd.
All right. And we'll get we got a minute and a bit to look at these last 2 boulders. The women's boulder, you just look at these volumes. They built these volume on volume on volume on volume, wedding cake holds. It's meant to look like a bit of a show, but it's also meant to be physically difficult for the ladies to just get around them. So they got to grab, they got to push, they got to pull. The feet are the biggest, worst feet you've ever come across. So hard to establish, and then relatively straightforward once you've got the bonus hold established. But the beginning is going to be a bit of a wrestling match, hopefully fatigue them a little bit at the end of the round.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you nobody's climbed on that kind of configuration of those volumes ever before. So very creative setup by the Bloc Shop route setting team. And it'll be interesting to see how they wrestle their way up that. For the men, men number 4, so, you know, it's really just a pure power and short, you know, there are 4 moves on this boulder, but they are very far apart, and you've got a bit of a barn door setup to get the bonus hold. So it's really about, you know, this is going to be the last boulder of the night for the men. They're going to have to still have some gas in the tank to be able to pull those moves off.
Yeah, and I know the route setters want to put these guys on a bit of a journey through the round. So same as the semifinal round where they have an idea that across 4 boulders, they want to test 4 different styles. Both the men's and ladies' boulders are set to be diverse. So nothing is really testing the same thing twice. So if you're going to win this comp, you need to be really, really good at many, many things. We're going to get right after it. So we're going to be on boulder number 1 in enough time for these guys to get their shoes on and give a nod to their judges. And then we're going to be underway, guys. Bloc Shop 2018. We're in the finals. Stay with us. Ask some questions on the live stream if you're watching on the live stream. Shout out to your favorite climbers. Who said, tell us something. If you know something about, you know, you got a hometown favorite, you got a friend climbing in the finals, you got a nickname you want to let us know about, drop it on there. Put it on the chat. Be part of the show. I'm excited, Phil. Ça va être une bonne show.
Ça va être un incroyable show. En fait, la foule est vraiment dedans. Puis c'est déjà parti. On a nos 2 compétiteurs qui se revirent de bord et qui vont amorcer leurs 4 minutes de grimpe.
All right, here we go. Norici, Jorg Verhoeven are going to kick off the Bloc Shop 2018 finals. And they're going to take one last look. 2 minutes of that preview was not that long ago, so they don't need a lot of extra time to think about it. Jorg jumping right on and getting after it. Just got to work your way around this volume with basically no feet on the front side. So there's nothing screwed on the back of those volumes and nothing screwed on the front down on the first 2 holds. So you're pressing and pushing.
Absolutely, and you know, they are sort of jutting out those volumes, so perhaps some toe hookery or some heel hooking will be able to help.
Absolutely, and you get a look at Nora here making this commitment, thinking about making the commitment to this right foot tucked up under that. Very tentative, which is as these guys told us through both rounds, that patience gets rewarded, but tentativeness tends not to get rewarded. Commitment is what they're looking for.
Right. And, you know, on the ladies' block, you can see also a triangular volume that sort of prevents you from getting your hips any closer to the wall. Meanwhile, Jorg here getting really close to the bonus.
And still making decisions as designed. Oh, look at that. Good stuff.
So he's having fun there, it seems. Trying to get his hips out underneath him.
But I'm not sure that he's entirely solved how to get out of that body position. So although it looked like it was functioning, he didn't stick with it. Physically demanding.
Yeah, and spent perhaps about over a minute on that boulder. So I think Jorg is experienced enough to know that he shouldn't spend that much time in that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, you want it. Number of tries, obviously important, but at the expense of that much energy, sometimes it's better to drop off, take that 30 seconds, try again. So let's see if Nora decides to change her level of commitment here. She's committed to try and get statically onto this big dimension volume before moving up to the nest of triangular volumes up there. New York taking a well-deserved minute to get some of that blood back into his forearms. Oh.
That was a much better attempt by Nora.
Yeah, so deciding to move through that instead of trying to stall
and match
on that volume.
Yeah, match the volume, which seems perhaps less ideal.
And there's this moment of desperation that kicks in when you think you've solved the right beta with less than a minute to go. You can't wait to get back on the wall to retest your sequence. So she's getting much closer, and you know in the back of her head she's thinking, I wish I tried that on the first minute. Oh.
So 28 seconds ago, and
Jorg also figuring out the right way to do things with not enough time on the clock.
I don't know. Will they give him the bonus, you think?
I don't think so. I don't think that was in control. I think he was swinging the entire time. He never really stopped his movement or changed it around. Getting the crowd pumped up. No, it doesn't count if you stick the zone with your feet. You must control the zone with your hand. You cannot use a zone with your feet. So 4+, clock's at 0. Let's see what these guys can do on their very last try. Oh, Jorg just sliding off. Good effort. Come back to our next two finalists coming out. It's a long walk. This is the longest walk to Boulder #1 from ISO. They got to come all the way across the gym. But we're going to bring out Alyssa Weber and Raymond Hansen. So we have to apologize. Yesterday we said that Raymond was from Massachusetts, and he's actually from New York.
My bad. Once again, Phil making the mistakes again.
I don't think I corrected you, though, so I feel culpable.
And we've got Brad on the live feed, on the chat, sorry. Brad Robertson coming in with his predictions. Keep them coming. You know, we'll like to interact with you throughout this comp. And yeah, so looking forward to see what Raymond and Alyssa can do on this first round of boulders.
And I think, Brad, if you're going to make a prediction, you got to be, you can't be gender biased. You got to make a prediction for the female podium as well, my friend.
True that.
All right, Ray and Alyssa, 4 minutes plus. Alyssa I've known really well. I mean, I've been around her in competitions for multiple years now. She is steady, she is strong, she's consistent, she's tenacious. Well, I'm definitely excited to see what she pulls out in another Block Shop Finals. Raymond, a bit of an unknown to us. Not a lot of time spent on the open circuit in the U.S. So we're learning as we go with Ray Hansen.
Yeah, and DD type asking a question, did Nathan Smith participate? No, he was part of the route setting team. So making sure these boulders are nice and challenging enough for the competitors. So Nathan Smith did not participate as an athlete.
Oh, and it's interesting to make that decision, right? So you grow your career as a route setter, you know, even a very strong local climber making a decision to be part of the route setting crew. Not an easy decision, but, you know, I like seeing that for sure.
And we got also a comment from Simon saying good work for the camera work, the camera team here working, and I'd agree wholeheartedly. They're doing a great job. It's fun
wonderful.
to work with them.
Very good. It's a great crew here. Alyssa taking a few tentative tries at the start of this boulder as well, and Ray just not getting quite enough squeeze to make it work for him.
All right, Brad, thanks for your podium.
There he goes.
Good work.
Ray grabbing one of the only 2 holds on this men's #1 boulder. And Alyssa figuring out that barn door doesn't have anything to oppose. That's a flat volume on the right-hand side, and there's nothing to put your left hand on. It's designed that if you try that, you're going to come spinning off.
Right, and also just the shape of that volume, you can see it really well. It sort of impedes you from putting your right foot out. If you would want to match it as maybe a lie back or just a side pull, you know, you'd want to have your right foot to the right, but it's impeding that. So you need to find another way to go about it.
It's a great use of volumes to restrict movement versus just volumes to create movement. I know not everyone loves the amount of volumes that show up in modern route setting, but in the right instances, they change the angle of the wall and they change the way that you make the climbers move. And when these guys are this good and this strong and this creative, you have to find ways to make them guess, second guess, and work a little bit harder. 1 minute to go. Ray is showing you how hard it is to just grab that volume all by itself. It's an interesting shape under there. It's not quite flat. It's got a little bit of contour. It's a pretty wide, pinchy, slopey, underclingy thing.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of texture on these dimension volumes, of course. A lot of those can be seen on the walls here at Bloc Shop, but you know, you still got to pinch like crazy because you're in a steep part of that wall. So
Absolutely.
You need to, you know, really crush those volumes with your hands, and Raymond having some difficulty with that.
Alyssa Weber. Oh, again, at very, very late in the time frame, working out that if you're more dynamic, you're going to get successful on this boulder. So with her second last try, she figured out the beta. With one try to go, with zeros on the clock, we'll see what we can do with both of these guys. So Alyssa going to feel the pressure of everything into this one try. A few deep breaths.
All eyes on Alyssa.
Oh.
So getting a touch on that bonus hold, but just not being able to latch it. Good attempt.
A great attempt. Unfortunately, too late in the clock to be able to put enough tries in with the right beta. So interesting. A high-risk boulder, depending on how you try it. See, I promise, the commercials are shorter than the breaks between climbers walking to and from the boulder. We could show 3 or 4 in a row if we wanted to. It's going to work out really nicely.
So meanwhile, we've got Brad, who's writing to us quite a bit on the stream. He says he predicts 0 tops for the men on boulder number 1. So I think that's a gutsy call, Brad, because we got some really strong competitors coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last move, it looks, I mean, it's hard, but the last hold, it's a jug.
It is. It's a really high, you know, foot, and it's going to be a bit of a jump to get up there, but it's a great hold.
Yeah, it's a really good hold. Although, we'll let you in a little secret. We were watching Jackie up on a ladder, sanding off the texture on the top of the volume on the top of men's number 1.
Yeah.
So it is there are 2 volumes that are screwed together, and the very, very top and the far left side that you see have been sandpapered down. There's basically no texture. So not enough to make you fall off, but enough that when you get up there to grab it dynamically, you are going to be surprised. So route setters love this. How do we get little tricks here and there into these athletes, make them think, make them work? Big cheer for last year's winner, Melissa Leneve, and local crusher, Seb Lazure. Maybe we'll see our first 2 tops.
Let's go.
I'm going to go right out and say that Melissa tops this boulder. and I'm going to hold off until I see Seb try it once or twice. It's an unpredictable boulder problem.
So Seb opting to power out with his right hand.
Wow.
Using that as a Gaston, but he's looking really solid so far.
I'm impressed with the way he stuck that. And moving through, I'm going to say easily. Wow. So Melissa on her first try, working out the explosiveness required here, so she'll refine that.
And you know, that's what I like about Melissa and her having so much experience, is that she probably had a plan on the way there, but then quickly noticed that she wouldn't be able to match the volume, and then tried to go directly to the bonus hole just on pure instinct.
And just to get a feel for what it'd be like. So instead of sort of peeling off and letting go, she's like, I know I'm not in the right position, but I'm going to throw this jump up here and see what those holds feel like. And that's experience. And you actually did see, as you mentioned, there was a change in her body language and her body logic as she came across, and you could see those wheels turn. So she's just giving the crowd a little bit of pump up, getting people excited. She did that all last year as well. We love to see that.
So, you know, I hadn't thought of that beta, the one that Seb is doing. And now he's surprising me even more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it seems like the more efficient way to go about it.
And this jug, it's a jug, but the momentum of the swing takes you out of the best part of that hold. So you can see that Seb is obviously strong enough to pull on those volumes, and then he doesn't have a huge swing, but he can't quite make that bonus hold stick.
Yeah, and what's exciting is we've got a minute and 30 seconds left, and I think both climbers have gotten a good feel of what they need to do to have success on this boulder. So, you know, it's a matter of them concentrating and bearing it down to get it done.
Absolutely. And the question about Alex Megos, I don't know why Alex Megos isn't here. I'm not sure who they talked to. There are conflicting schedules. The Adidas Rockstars was last weekend. I know that a few athletes were there. Alex Puccio was at Adidas Rockstars, and maybe to come back from Germany to Montreal is not on everybody's schedule. But I think, I mean, it's a great question. I know we're going to get more and more international athletes coming to the Block Shop Open. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, getting closer and closer, just slowing it down. Didi, a very interesting question. And we're going to talk about that sort of thing as we go through the round. It doesn't mean it wasn't properly set. Absolutely not. It means that the assumptions and the predictions and the anticipation from the route setters is just not perfectly in line with what the climbers are doing. So, also remember that it's okay if one boulder doesn't get topped. People are winning World Cups with 2 tops. So you have to be in a position to test these climbers, and sometimes you only see 1 top, and sometimes you see none, and that doesn't mean it wasn't properly set at all. Oh, look at that. So Melissa sticking the bonus and earning herself a top.
And that's just amazing, and it's characteristic Melissa Lenevy, just sticking in there and getting it done in the clutch. Bravo, Melissa.
Yep.
That was amazing.
When the clock goes to zeros, you got to get it done, and she got it done. So a first top of the evening goes to Melissa Lenevy in good style.
Really good style, and you could just see the tension in both those shoulders as she matched those 2 crimps in a double Gaston move, and wow, just, you know, she treats us to these kinds of moments every once in a while, right?
Absolutely, and Seb Lazur off camera got both hands on the bonus hold on that swing, just unable to make it stick.
Yeah. So 1 top, for the ladies by Melissa, and so far no one has latched or controlled the bonus hold on men's number 1.
And a good question, Amit. You are correct. Running starts aren't allowed anymore. You can cause a climber to jump to get on the wall, but they have to be established before they can leave the starting hold. So running starts had people moving through dynamically into the boulder. Here you can make them jump to get on the wall. They're only running because they don't want to jump straight from the ground, but they have to have both hands and both feet established before they can move out of that starting position. So you're correct. Running starts aren't allowed anymore, and this is not, in fact, a running start. It's just how they're choosing to get into the starting position of the boulder.
Yeah, and now coming out fourth, we'll have Petra Klingler and Falco Filotto.
Pete Woods is not drinking whiskey tonight. He is somewhat fighting a head cold and has been for a few days now, and didn't want to risk whiskey and cold medication. Not entirely sure that it would have left me being super coherent to get you guys through this live stream for the finals. Falco bearing down. A bit of a right wrist injury, but obviously nothing too serious. He got himself into the finals. Petra thinking about the commitment and then sort of doing that halfway in, halfway out. 1 foot in, 1 foot out approach. And then Falco getting one hand on the bonus on his first try, which good sign for sure, but as Seb showed us, touching the bonus doesn't necessarily equate to sticking it even after 2 or 3 attempts. So this boulder is on men's 1. As Jackie mentioned, these guys are making it hard because they think it's supposed to be hard. So they're using the volumes, they're climbing around them, they're being insecure, and they're making the boulder harder than it was set.
Yeah, and that's part of what competition climbing is all about. Sometimes you won't even have that hard of a boulder, but it's just that you're all alone to figure it out in 4 minutes plus in this format, you know. So you need to be creative. You need to, you know, draw in on all those experiences you've had in the past to be able to find a solution. And we've got a question on what we think the beta is to get to the bonus hold. Well, there you go.
I would say it looks just like that. I would argue that is the beta. So now we're going to get our first look at the finish move. We're going to see what he decides. Oh, good recovery.
Yeah, he didn't really fully commit.
So you saw he tried to avoid doing the move as it was designed, and then it immediately slipped and went back to it. That high inside foot, that creates a really big, powerful, dynamic movement. The clock on your screen is wrong. There's 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, give or take. Petra is...
So that's a first bonus.
First bonus.
For the men by Falco.
And very nearly atop. I think with 1.5 minutes to go, he might think he can do that. When you get a taste of the top of a boulder, you really want to get up there. So remember that these climbers have discussed the beta with each other. So they've talked about it, the ladies, like, oh, maybe it'll be a static move. Maybe it'll be a jump move. But now they don't know what the right decision is. So they talked about it before. They're going to talk about it in secondary ISO. But once you're out here, you're still left to second guess the group decision. Like everybody's like, oh, it's definitely a slow barn door. And you think to yourself, maybe it's not. But maybe I should go with what we all predicted. These are some strong, some smart ladies. And interesting mental games when you get into the finals format for sure. So great footwork from Falco, great core tension to make that move static twice in a row. And he's going to wind this thing up. Big man in a small space.
So is he going to pull back on with 10 seconds to go?
Petra manages to get across statically.
Wow.
A couple of very small crimps here, but obviously not too small for Petra. That one is tiny though. So 2 tops after the clock runs down, and Falco managed to get on before the clock ran out as well.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to have to bear this in mind going forward, because Falco, he had a really strong effort just before, and you know, that's tiring to get that high up on this boulder.
Oh, and he went back to that, Lord, let me do anything but put my left foot where my right hand is. Didn't quite work out for him, but great effort. First man to get to the bonus, and Petra with a great top right down to the wire. Yeah, Didi, I mean, we would obviously love to give you all the bells and the whistles. We do run into a cost-prohibitive model in which we can't give you 4, 5, or 6 cameras on the floor. We can't have running clocks. We can't have names and all these sorts of things. As we get farther and farther and deeper into people watching live streams, and we can present to you that better and better product, but we need to have a little bit of financial support. So whether that's from the sponsors, what that model looks like, but I assure you we're going to get there. That's something that we're trying to do. We're trying to bring you the best product every single time. All right, reigning champ, Mika Mauem and Katarina Sarwen, who both obviously climbed really, really well yesterday evening, earned their spots.
So Mika opting for left hand up, unlike Falco and Seb.
Just going to work his way through the options that they discussed earlier. There we go. Option number 2.
Yeah, adapt and improve.
Looking really good across here now. Definitely tall enough to do the same kind of footwork that you saw from Falco. And even more, the toe hook on the start.
Oh my God. That's just what we've come to expect from Mika Mauem. Just
big move.
Almost front flipped off that bonus.
Yeah. So Katarina once tried to go static. Let's see what she sizes up this time. There we go. Making decisions. Part of the idea, the root setters putting volumes across as footholds like this is so that the decision is up to you where to put your feet for a particular move. So if you put 2 footholds, then you design the movement. If you put a volume, which gives you 2 or 3 feet worth of space to put your feet along, and then there's also the second option of how close to the wall or how far away from the wall am I. Now you can make people second guess their footwork and really make them make decisions while still presenting them with the movement. So this is the footwork. It needs to go in this direction, but the precise placements are up to you. And you've seen a little bit of everything on this one. Mika immediately going shirts off.
He's got this crowd in his back pocket, so he knows that's going to come in the clutch.
Absolutely, he does. Yeah, putting the hammer down to make that stick this time. Really good work.
That was really slick how he pumped up and put his right arm there to latch that final hold. It's a big jug, but as you can see, it's more than a meter out from that bonus hold. So props to Mika.
And he looked more comfortable in a position, more flexible, I would argue, to be able to have that foot up that high and generate that kind of upward momentum by being able to get your hips up and over. So that's definitely a flexibility asset when you're folded up into that position. Really good top from Mika. So with only one climber to follow, it puts you in a good spot right away.
And opting for a more static beta with just under 30 seconds to go. Earlier on, I believe she had tried to go for the dynamic beta. So let's see what she's going to opt for. She's going to run the clock out to have one last attempt.
It was a really good look as you see Mikael making that last move work. Big dynamic chuck for the finish. So 5 seconds, 3 seconds to go. So Katrina's tried both. As Phil was saying, she's tried dynamic, she tried static. This is the time to make your final decision. Couple of deep breaths. Looked like she opted for something completely different that time. She went trying to get her right foot up to stop that sideways movement, and unfortunately it didn't work out for her. So tried both. So we're down to one left.
For this first round, absolutely one set of climbers, two American climbers that crushed the semifinals, Nathaniel Coleman and Kyra Condi.
Yeah, Kyra Condi, still quite young, doesn't have a huge depth of World Cup experience, but a couple of top 10 finishes, a 6th and a 5th this year. So she's definitely got it in her as a young competitive climber. She's been on that World Cup stage. She knows what it takes. And what we're seeing here, as we discussed yesterday and a little bit earlier, is that these are World Cup style and almost World Cup level boulders. So this is right up your alley if you've got some experience on this type of stage. So here we go, 4 minutes to see Kyra and Nathaniel. Either of them going to flash it, Phil? What do you think?
Oh, that's, I don't know. I think Nathaniel, he could flash it. And why not Kyra too? I think you're right on.
Well, second try. Nathaniel making use of the heels and toe hooks. And Kyra trying to go power only to slow that move down. And we'll see if Nathaniel can make this toe hook reach through. There we saw York try.
Oh.
Wow. I don't know that I would have predicted he was going to try and jump.
That was an interesting experiment in movement.
Absolutely. I think I would. That hurt my hamstring just watching.
Yeah.
That's a big dynamic move to start with a toe hook above your hands. I'm definitely interested to see if he goes back to that or if he throws that out the window right away. So, you think they discussed it. Hey, what do you think about a toe hook match? He tried the toe hook dyno. We'll see if he comes around to something different or fights through that one. So Kyra. Looking uncomfortable, I would argue.
Yeah, and not making use of the heel toe that's afforded to her. But I think she just figured out now that she needs to perhaps drive by and go over to those two crimps and the bonus.
Oh, look at that. As you said, she just figured it out and then made no mistakes.
Yeah,
She didn't even pause to breathe. Grab the bonus, grab the crimp, jump to the finish.
And she did it with a really impressive fluidity there.
Really impressive. I mean, this is the first time I've really seen her climb competitively, and I've been impressed all the way through the semifinal round. And that right there, just the difference in how she did the top. I mean, maybe the other women could have also made that, grab the bonus, pop to that very small crimp, jump to the finish, but they all very carefully, the second last hold, that crimp is tiny, and it's basically touching the wall.
Yeah.
You got to fold your hand in there.
You can't put too much meat behind that one.
No, and she just grabbed it and jumped. So this is what we're coming to expect.
And for me, it's just the comparison between the different styles. You had Melissa that did it really strenuously in a double Gaston, but, you know, Kyra, she just looked super at ease. Like, it looked a lot easier for her to stick that move. And Petra, she actually did it really statically. So those three ladies,
making everything work for them.
And so 26 seconds to go for Nathaniel Coleman. He power slammed on his himself on that last attempt.
And he knows he's just going to have to put that much more squeeze into the move to the bonus. Time to put the hammer down. Oh, static.
Yeah, he got that toe hook to the right.
Oh no. So he looks a little bit incredulously up to the sky, although the sky can rarely help you once you've fallen off a boulder.
Yeah, I think Nathaniel knew he could stick that and was surprised that he didn't manage to do so. So that's it for problem number one. We're already on to the next one, folks.
Yeah, just like that. We move along. I'm excited. I'm excited to see all the boulders, but I'm really excited to watch the opposing styles that we're going to see right beside each other on this boulder. So the women, as we discussed, big dynamic swing followed by core intensive movement. And on the men's side, just pushing. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Jackie was saying push instead of pull. You don't pull on almost any of the holds on this boulder. It's about body position, it's about movement. And he actually said this one, they had in mind a wave. So they call this one the C. So a little bit of a creative background to what route setters talk about. And we talked about eliciting emotion or movement, and he said they talked about that, and they said this one they were going to have, this was the wave. And the way the movement of the climber through that position, same kind of thing.
Let's hope people know how to surf so they don't get overwhelmed by the wave.
Fair point. So welcome back Jorg Verhoeven and Nora Chi for their second boulder of the evening.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Both still smiling. So they've come out of secondary ISO after the first boulder, and they all come back to secondary ISO. So they do talk about what happened on boulder number one. They know who's ahead if they choose to talk about it, and I think for the most part they do. Big swings. So she got her feet over, but not quite able to reel that in.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you can try to reel that in, because you need to get your hips over your feet as your feet land on that volume, and then keep that momentum going left to be able to get that next big hold. Meanwhile, on problem number one, so you might not see it because you're going to miss it, but Jorg's putting his right foot up on a small screw-on jib that's the same color as the rest of the module. And what he went up to get on the underside of the triangular volume is also a gray screw-on.
And as we watch Nora stick the jump move on about her 3rd try. We get into these crimps. All dual textured on the bottom, so there's not a lot of thumb going on here. And in your only foothold is the top of that triangular volume and a bit of a toe hook. So that's going to test, again, your ability to hold that body tension with not the ideal feet to make those movements. Jorg just not looking comfortable at the start of this boulder. And Nora showing you that once you've figured that movement out, it's definitely easy to repeat. It's not always the case. Sometimes girls figure out a movement and then you watch them try and they're unable to repeat it. So even though they've got it right, it's just too difficult. So nice work from Nora here. Campusing through the crimps.
Yeah, and those crimps are capped, so you need to be really precise.
Staring down the final hold. Oh my goodness. Quick look up at the clock as soon as she hit the mat to see how much time she had left to try again. So hopefully didn't sap too much energy on that attempt. Looked good through the crimps.
Yeah,
really
about a minute and 15 seconds left. Oh, and Jorg opting for a new beta and getting his hands up higher up.
Yeah, and making it work.
1 minute.
So a perfect example of how bad the footwork is on this boulder. He wasn't moving at all. He was just standing there considering what his next move was going to be, and next thing you know, you're on the mat. And that's hard. That plays mentally, knowing that you've got to put full concentration in the whole time.
$20 seconds to go. Can Jorg get to that bonus hold?
Right, and Nora showing you how much it took out of her maybe on that last try, but she can't quite make this first move stick.
So 2 seconds to go, I think that's it for Jorg. No more time to pull back on. And I think Nora knows she's in her plus, 4 minutes plus, and now she knows what to do. She's been up there.
She knows what to do. Maybe she changes her footwork at the top. Maybe she just pulls a little bit harder. You know, there are 2 options. You can go at the top of that lower nest of crimps, or you can get your left foot on the bonus hold. So she's going to take a minute, definitely, to recover here. Crowd getting into it. Still got enough to campus.
Crossing under.
Up on the bonus this time for the foot. Just unable to latch the top. Really good effort. Really good effort from Nora, but to come away without a top, she'd probably be a little bit disappointed. Yeah. You know that tops are valuable. You touch that hold, you really want to really put it down.
Yeah, and she's still 14 years old. I mean, she's got a lot of good climbing years ahead of her.
Absolutely. If you're doing that at this age, we're trying to find as much as we could about some of these athletes, especially ones we don't know all that well. And tough to find a lot about our friend Nora, but last year at Youth Nationals in the Americas, she was 9th, and the year before she was 5th. So in her Youth B category, she's climbing in the top 10 at a national level. So definitely not to be taken lightly. Junior Nationals, that level is coming up every year as climbers start getting better younger. The national circuit is no longer the younger ages were always sort of the introduction to competitive climbing. And now you're seeing really strong climbers come out of that Youth B category.
Yeah, for her to be in a senior comp like this, it's huge. It's going to be good for her confidence going forward.
Absolutely. Didi, after the time is up, they can stay on the wall until they're done. So if the route setters have set a boulder in which there is a place where the climbers can rest for minutes at a time, they will. And we've seen it in World Cups. We've seen climbers standing on slabs recovering for 1 or 2 minutes before they take their last attempt. So that's why officially the IFSC has moved away to 4 minutes only in the finals. And then here we're doing 4 minutes plus. I know Tonde prefers it. I know he loves the drama that it brings to that one last try. And as you saw, our 2 tops on the first women's boulder came after time expired.
Absolutely. It's not the IFSC format, but it is, I think, a really fun format for the show, and the crowd here is loving it, and so am I.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I do like that, the 4 minutes plus. I love what it brings to the event. It might not be the easiest if you're trying to plan your commercials for the Olympics and you don't have an event with a predictable end time. But I'm okay with not having a predictable end time when we get a little bit more excitement. Alyssa sticking the jump, chalking up, making decisions about what to do to the top of this boulder. Getting that same toe hook. Good stuff. Getting a little bit shaky up there. Got to keep that power.
Yeah, and you saw her opt for that high foothold. You know, that makes it a bit harder. You're a bit more bunched up for that final huck up to the big last jug, but she's got some time to rest and rethink that if that's still her beta.
If that's still going to be her beta. And you could see that she looked really good through the beginning of the boulder, same as Nora. Got on those last 2 crimps after that tic-tac, and then suddenly looked quite tired. So it's a sapping boulder once you get into those crimps. It's steeper than it looks on TV. So you got to remember how much force they're putting down with really footholds not in ideal positions.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, is that you have 2 choices and none of them are optimal.
Exactly. Not ideal scenarios. Now Ray working through the beginning of this and having about as much success as Jorg did, which is disappointingly not that much. Very smooth that time. Very smooth from Alyssa.
37 seconds to go.
Ray is desperately taping or untaping a finger over there.
Yeah, Raymond, he has a right beta, I believe.
Oh, and Alyssa just unable to make that foot stick.
And opting for that to be it. Grabbing her scorecard.
Raymond, this will be his last try. He's going to get in there just at zeros. Oh. Making that stick for 1 or 2 seconds, but not enough to fold into the corner of the wall. We get a good look at how close Alyssa was on her try up at the top of that boulder. Just touching the very, very top edge of it.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious as to, it seemed like on our very last attempt, she sort of just dropped off because she looked really solid. I don't know if it's because she was hurt or, I don't know, uncomfortable or something. But
it looked like she got a foot up. It slipped a little bit, and she just didn't have enough to reel it in, and she made that instant decision to let go instead of see if she could fight to hang on. Bringing out Melissa Leneve and Sébastien Lazure. Seb is a good slab climber. Yeah. Although this isn't officially a slab,
it's a wave.
It is a wave. It climbs more like a slab than a steep boulder. Melissa's smiling right off the bat. Maybe remembering from the preview, knowing what they're getting into, it's interesting to see if the climbers are excited to try a boulder like this.
Yeah, and you know, she's such a gamer, Melissa, and I think she's just having a great time because she's not been on the IFSC circuit this last year. She's been doing some big walling in Madagascar. So
coming back into the gym where it's warm and dry.
That's right.
And Seb looking quite solid. Melissa sticking the jump on her second try. Seb getting bonus. This is great stuff from both these climbers at the same time. Sébastien Lazure, does he have enough to get to the finish? Oh, he's ever so slowly.
Ever so patiently as well. Allez, Seb.
And Melissa staring it down. Both climbers painfully close to tops. That was Seb's flash attempt. Wow, she got her hand on and then just barn doored out, and Seb not quite enough purchase on that right foot to stay in there. With 2.5 minutes to go, both of those efforts will be bolstering for their confidence. I think we might, I'm going to come right out and say we're going to see a couple tops from these two, given how close they got on their first try.
Yeah, and both these climbers came out strongly on boulder number 1 as well, but the difference being that Melissa topped in her extra time, and Seb actually, after having, you know, gotten a hold of the bonus hold on problem number 1, was not credited it because he had not controlled it.
Right.
And so he really needs to top on boulder number 2 here, and I think he knows he can do it. He's got just under 2 minutes to go, and you know, the whole gym here is getting behind hometown favorite.
Absolutely. And you just saw on that replay that actually his feet popped on the way to that hold. So it wasn't about a lack of left hand strength. It was about that left foot just coming loose and then having suddenly nowhere to generate momentum from on the way to the finish. So Seb immediately back up into the position in front of the bonus, but unable to make it stick this time.
Yeah, he's still got some time. He knows the beta, and now we can concentrate on Melissa.
This is a great angle to show you these scrimps. Making decisions, changing her mind, staying low and locking it off.
Et ça, c'est l'expérience qui parle. Ça, c'est l'expérience qui parle, Pete.
Absolument. Il change la décision en le milieu de la mouvement.
Exactement. C'est pas parce que tu as une prise qui est plus haut que c'est nécessairement meilleur. Elle a opté pour redescendre et elle a fait un bon blocage avec son bras droit, le pied bien haut. Et Melissa a deux blocs dans la
première deux, oui, absolument. C'est la différence pour le dernier moment, c'est l'angle de la prise. La plus haute prise, l'angle peut-être, c'est pas assez bon avec le placement de le pied. Donc elle a fait 2 différentes décisions juste au moment de finir le bloc. Elle a fait en bon style.
Oui, puis tu peux voir aussi à quel point elle est en déséquilibre avec la dernière prise. Comme, même si elle est positive,
ouais.
Il faut vraiment que tu tiennes fort parce qu'elle n'est pas positionnée optimalement. Tu es en déséquilibre tout au long.
No, it's not over just when you have one hand on the finish hold. And I'll tell you in a minute after Seb tries this. With no time on the clock. So this is Seb's last attempt and just unable to make that foot stick.
Proud attempt by Seb. Only man so far to get the bonus.
So here's a great look at the lock off.
Amazing.
Amazing. And then the amount of effort it took just to match. And then that is an excited face right there.
Yeah. It's so great to see her climb. 2 tops for Melissa, and yes. So far, my prediction is going in the right direction.
Yeah, true. That's true. We switched to French because we're bilingual. We're a bilingual country. We're in Montreal, so we want to talk a little bit of French for you guys. You know,
And
why
we
not?
have 2 French climbers climbing.
Exactly, we absolutely did.
Seb is from Montreal and Melissa from France, so it seemed fitting.
So I did watch a conversation between the route setters about the angle of the finish hold on women's number 2. So they had about a 5-minute conversation about whether they should turn it to be more vertical or more flat. And you could see there, as you were saying, the angle definitely making the top hard.
Oui, merci, Sean. Sean McCall. On aimerait ça te voir, Sean. Prochaine fois, tu viendras en ville pour le Bloc Shop Open. Je sais que tu étais à Crange et que tu as très bien fait. Bravo.
Oui, bravo. Sean, we haven't seen the results yet from Crange, but I know you climbed in the final, and I know you were in the final in good position, in 3rd or 4th position. So if you want to let us know how you did, we'd be happy to see it. Oh, and Petra trying to do the move statically. I mean, it's far.
That's entertaining for sure.
Yeah, and I feel they definitely designed this to not be static, but that's as static as you're going to make it. And Petra just showing you how strong she is at full extension, fingertip to fingertip. Well, congratulations, Sean. 5th place. Wonderful stuff. I know you always look for podiums. I know you always want podiums, but nice to see you back in the final in a Lead World Cup. Petra crimping her way up here. You can see her making decisions. Getting her mitts on the last hold. Not quite able to reel it in.
And I think it makes you appreciate all the more the decision-making Melissa made just previously by deciding to opt for a match on the lower crimp to get to that high hold with a big right-hand lock-off.
Agreed. I will be definitely interested to see if anybody else decides to keep that low hand beta. Falco is showing you how hard, even for a man much taller than Seb, where you would think that would be an advantage to get higher up into those volumes. Not so much an advantage necessarily. He's definitely having his share of issues making this slow dynamic press work.
Yeah, this is a good shot of the angle. I mean, it is a module, and usually you can smear up, but it's not that positive. So the amount of pressure you need to put down in your feet is really high.
Yeah, and between your shoulders. Petra making her way back up to the last nest of crimps here. And going same beta, try harder. So an ounce more effort got her deeper into the finish hold. Not quite enough to stick, about 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. We're gonna get one more try out of Petra. And we're gonna see her put everything into that last move on that last try.
So we have a question. Did Sean compete in the Bloc Shop Open last year? No, he wasn't there. But he did come to Bloc Shop for the 2015 National Championships, and that was memorable for sure, with perhaps a move you've seen go around the interwebs with 360 one-arm lock-off.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to see Petra go with 30 seconds to go. So obviously knowing she's got power in the tank, and she's given herself a get-out-of-jail card. Get that lock-off going. She's like, kind of looks up with the what do I have to do? 10 seconds.
She's getting back on.
She's going to give us one more. So Falco with zeros on the clock, and Petra with zeros on the clock. Falco's just got to get that big frame shifted over, and that's going to do it for both these climbers. Just to show you how close Petra is. Wrapping it up, and then just too much of that barn door swing. Too much torque to be able to hang on to that hold. So the brushers working feverishly between climbers. And we're down to 2. Mikael Marouem and Katarina Sorven. Gonna show us what they've got. Boulder number 2. Yeah, always kudos to the brushers.
Especially on slab.
You gotta get all that residual chalk dust that sits like ball bearings under your feet.
I like that description. It's pretty apt.
That's what it feels like, at least.
Mika using his characteristic dynamic style to his advantage. Let's see if he can slab his way up the wave. Gets to the bonus.
Pretty cleanly. Wow.
Oh. That's a flash.
That is a flash.
So Mika, the only man with 2 tops so far, and a really convincing flash of Boulder number 2. And he's the reigning champion here, so he's the man to beat in every way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was over very quickly. He made that last move look inconsequential, where Seb made it look like the hardest move on the boulder.
And meanwhile, Katarina Sauerwein establishing herself, looking controlled.
Oh, so she went low foot, high hands, got well over into the finish hold. So room to spare in terms of the movement to get there, where you saw Alyssa couldn't quite generate enough to get to the finish hold. So she just got to solve the friction, that contact strength to make that last hold stick. And you just look at the way Mikael leaned over, putting a ton of weight into that right foot. Asking the crowd for a little bit of love right at the top of the wall.
Yep, he's a crowd pleaser.
And Katarina having a sit down while she ponders the top of this boulder, tries to recover some of the spent energy from the first 2 tries.
2 minutes to go, just under 2 minutes, so she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and 2 minutes is a lot of time when you've touched the top of the hole at the finish of a boulder. You kind of have that mental game to say, do I take a little bit longer to rest because I'm quite confident I can do it on my next try, and then leave yourself a safety net of 30, 45 seconds if you don't stick the last hold. She's given herself a lot of time. So she took a good rest, but has also got a lot of time left if this doesn't work out as she hopes. Looking very smooth. Oh, and went low hands, low feet, but went dynamically. So she did opt to change her beta a little bit. Got same but different from what Melissa did. She had that low foot, low hand decision instead of the low hand, high foot decision. And she did go much more dynamically, where you saw Melissa locked it off, basically at her hip, which if you've done any lock-off work in your gym at home, as soon as you start locking off down past your ribs into your hips, that gets very, very difficult. It's a skill, and it's a strength-based movement. The climbers that are very good at it make it look very easy, but I assure you, locking off that far, very difficult.
Yeah, total power. And we got a question from Rob saying, are they running 4 or 5 problems? They're running 4 problems for this comp.
Katerina on her absolute last attempt with no time on the clock. Original beta. It's like, what do I have to do?
When curiosity asks, what's across the street? And monotony says, that's not the plan. Exploration says, it is now.
So, you know, just seeing, rethinking about that last attempt by Katerina Sauerwein, it makes you appreciate, as I said a bit earlier, the wherewithal that Melissa Leneve displayed by opting to match that lower crimp. She's the only person to have tried that. So far, we got Kyra Condi still up in the running. She's the final competitor to come out on this boulder in a couple of seconds. And it'll be interesting to see if she's got the power to maintain, you know, the final hold if she gets up there whilst, you know, holding that right-hand Gaston, because so far everybody that's tried that has either overshot it or not been able to control the swing.
Absolutely. And the style that she climbs in and the power that she displayed yesterday and on the first boulder, you've got to think that she has both the dynamic ability and the contact strength to make that last move look relatively pedestrian.
I like that, pedestrian. A walk in the park.
A walk in the park.
That is predicted for Kyra Condi. Let's see what she can do.
So I heard out of my left ear, Dr. Stepp, the house MC here for this event, loves giving nicknames. And I heard him call Nathaniel Coleman Nate the Great. Not a terrible nickname if you're going to line up nicknames.
No, and quite fitting for a competitor that has done so well, you know, in North American comps and, you know, the national U.S. finals. Has won them for the last 3 years and actually done it in impeccable style, usually flashing a number of boulders. So
here we have Kyra on her flash attempt, looking very confident. Low crimp, high foot.
And that's a flash.
Yep.
Well, okay.
As expected, I suspect, from some of you at home as well as some of us here, has the power to make that move and then has the control to stick the finish. So,
and she did it exactly like Melissa, locking off from that lower crimp. So there you go. That's what often differentiates, you know, competitors, is being able to read routes and know also what your specific strengths are.
Yes, and having power to spare, there's almost no substitute for that. Even as bouldering evolves, even as the route setting evolves, and you get these volume styles and you get these more movement-based problems, there's almost never a substitute for having more power. Of course you have to be good, of course you have to be technical, of course you have to be precise, but when the moment comes down to it, if you've got power to spare, you're never going to be disappointed that that's something you've got in your back pocket. About 2 minutes left on the clock.
And Michael is the man to beat with 2 tops so far. Nathaniel got the bonus. You know, in 2 attempts on the first boulder. And if he wants to give Michael a hard time, then he has to get up higher on this boulder.
He's got to get to the top. Absolutely needs to get to the top. These guys aren't taking a ton of time off between attempts. They're only really doing one move if they've been falling off. They're standing up, they're pressing, they're coming out. So they're not losing a lot of skin. They're not losing a lot of bicep power. So they are getting multiple tries in their 4 minutes.
And I don't know if it's I don't know if competitors are still used to the 4-minute plus.
Yeah, it's been a full season of climbing in the 4 minutes only. So interesting little heel hook here to get some over. So not everyone's been successful with that. And then you just watch the change in hip position to be able to get over without falling away from the wall like you just saw there. 10 seconds to go. This is going to be Nathaniel's last try to put the pressure onto Mikael. Oh.
Oh, just getting back up on time, but
just in time. So now, be careful, Nate. Oh, and running out of shoulder gas.
Right. Hopefully not entirely out of it because we still got 2 more boulders. That's it for boulder number 2, folks. And so far, you know, every boulder has been topped.
A really good look at Kyra sticking the top of this.
For the ladies, both boulders 1 and 2 have been topped by 3. Sorry, boulder number 1, 3 competitors. Boulder number 2, 2 competitors. But boulders number 1 and 2 for the men, there's only 1 competitor that's come up on top, and his name is Mikael Mawan.
Yeah, so he has definitely put the pressure on everybody else. 2 tops. 2. Lazur, who's behind with 1 flash to a zone, and then Nathaniel with a zone in 2 tries. So that's your top 3 currently on the men's side going into the 3rd boulder. And for the ladies, as you might expect, you've got Kyra Condi on top of that with 2 tops. Oh, we'll just have a look at it here. And then for the ladies, we got Kyra, of course, in first. Melissa Lineve right behind, only separated by attempts at this point. And then Petra Klingler, as you see here, in 3rd place with 1 top and 2 zones.
So boulder number 3 is a very different affair for a very different thing for the ladies and for the men. So for the ladies, it's a really powerful quest through all those volumes, and an awkward quest at that. Whereas for the men, we've got a really technical and powerful slab.
Right, and an awkward quest and a long quest and a decision-based quest for the ladies. Lots of options, lots of places to grab those volumes, lots of places to put your feet. I'm excited to see how this slab climbs. You know, you always, you want them to be hard. You don't want everyone to flash everything, but you want to see the movement. You want to see how the boulders climb because that's how they're designed. You know, it'd be like painting a picture and never getting to hang it on the wall is to set a boulder and not see them get topped. So we want to see the boulders get topped for sure, and we love seeing how hard these guys have to work to earn their tops.
So Jorg is
going to tall his way to the bonus. But it doesn't remove the fact that you still have to make the slab move to get to the finish. So Nora popped off on her way past that first big volume. There's nothing underneath that one, if you're curious. There's no screw-ons on these big volumes here. Flat on top, flat underneath, and that hold is tough to tell from this angle. The hold on the triangle dimension volume is pretty much a sloper.
And, you know, my money is on York for this problem because he's such a, I mean, seasoned outdoor climber on awkward faces. He's gone up on you know, the nose and dihedral wall in Yosemite. He's done really hard multi-pitch routes in difficult conditions. So I think he's got the skill to get this done.
And he's done his fair share of World Cup slabs in his career. So he's up there. So can he make the commitment move to the finish? Crowd wants to see it, as do we. This is committing, this last move. It looks
and
so
look
close.
At that, look at that.
Really smooth. And then just.
There you go.
Yes. Great stuff.
So basically, York just showing what his skill set is all about, and wow.
Absolutely, and you saw the moment in which he knew he was in control as he tipped over, and he kind of waved his left hand at you. That definitely letting the crowd know that he was going to top that boulder, that no chance he was going to come off from that point.
Yeah, and it's funny, I saw the brusher, you know, going and brushing that bonus hold on the men's problem. It's like, you know, we saw Jackie Godov just, you know, sandpapering that hold to oblivion earlier on. So I don't know if that's going to be useful at all.
I don't know that if you poured water down the top of the wall that it would change its course when it met that hold. It's essentially a piece of the wall, but they brush it anyway.
Yeah, and I hope we get a replay. We did get one, but I'd like to see it again, just how Jorg managed to, you know, get his hips and get his weight over that, you know, big hold to be able to have the right foot on that last foothold.
Yeah, a perfect example of slow and steady, exactly how you need to climb that boulder. You got to be patient. You can't rush it. You can't get ahead. You got to just climb smooth and easy. Tops, bonuses, tops, attempts. No, the scoring is the new system. So number of tops followed by number of bonuses. Then it's number of attempts to top, and lastly, number of attempts to bonus. Yeah. So, sorry, Nora just putting in a real
fight,
heavy effort. I mean, I think she pulled on that boulder 6 times over the course of those 4 minutes and just put everything in to try and get past that big sloper. This is a sapping, powerful boulder. Here we have a good look at Jorg at the finish here.
Yeah.
Smooth, hips close to the wall, that right foot. Never wavered, and you watch just right here. Just a little wave. Yeah, I'm going to do this boulder. Don't you guys worry about it.
Awesome. Loving it.
A little wave on the way down. So that's going to bring us Alyssa Weber and Ray Hansen. We're about to find out how much Ray likes or dislikes slab climbing. Alyssa Weber, traditionally a powerful climber. She definitely has the biceps. She's got the ability to squeeze. So I'm hoping we see her get some real progress on this boulder. Making decisions. Nice, Alyssa holding that body tension. Heel and toe hooks. Just trying to make the match on that sloper. And as you see Ray trying that, the move across the beginning of this slab actually needs to be a little bit dynamic.
Yeah.
You've got to get a little bit of humph into it and then slow it down right away.
Yeah, and that's what Raymond has been able to do right here, getting that toe hook out left to stop his momentum going too far out right.
And then just ever so slowly.
It's all in the hips.
It is all in the hips. I think Sean mentioned earlier, I hope there's a hip mobility problem. That's something that Seb Lazur is quite good at. And here's your hip mobility problem right here.
Oh. Raymond looks solid. What we need to bear in mind is that foothold that is screwed onto the bigger hold is dual textured. So as you shift about, you may well lose purchase because you might be on the wrong part of that foothold.
On the wrong side of it, yep. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that hold.
No, you don't.
No, you do not. There's about 2 minutes to go. Alyssa's working out the foot sequences. So as we discussed, to find the path through this boulder is going to take a few tries for the ladies. It's not just left, right. All the volumes, lots of options. We got Ray back up into his one leg step up. That's really, really good control.
Oh, and he was relying on that sanded bonus hold to be able to get him over to the right, but slipped out.
No, and that's exactly what they wanted. Is they didn't want to give you a salvation hold that you could latch and then use to stand up. They wanted you to stand up and then touch the bonus hold. So it's not designed to be good enough to be able to just barely get there and then finish the movement. You got to get through that on your own. So if you're thinking about getting
not to be useful,
exactly, it's supposed to be kind of disappointing when you go and get it. So if you're, I would suggest if you're thinking about getting into competing that maybe on Monday you head into the gym and start doing your high box single leg step ups.
Pistol squats.
Just for the moment in which you run into a boulder like this. My old strength coach would be pleased to know that I still do my pistol squats. And once he got all of his body weight onto that foothold, as we see Alyssa matching the sloper, but unable to release those salvation toe hooks at the start of the boulder. So 10 seconds to go. Alyssa looks tired, I'm not going to lie, trying the beginning of this 4 or 5 times. Yeah, but she's definitely going to pull on for one more attempt.
It looks brutal, that boulder.
It's everything she can do to maintain the heel and toe hooks and hold this sloper. And this is a girl that knows how to pull on powerful boulders. Raymond's going to walk away from that abuse of his right leg. So good effort from these two, and a good look at how insecure the foot placements are on this slab boulder. We are getting a lesson in lots of different styles here. And we're privileged to do so.
Yeah, it's a great show so far, and you know the root setters have you know, really worked really hard, tirelessly over the last couple of days to have a great final round. They had awesome boulders in the qualifiers, the semis. Check the semis out also on YouTube, and the finals don't disappoint at all.
Sean making a reference to old hockey training. Shoot the ducks. Agreed. Oh, and the crowd loves this pair because you get Melissa, who is good to the crowd and is always smiling, and you get Seb Lazur, who's a local man. So this is so far this is, I would argue, the favored pairing. This is the crowd's favorite two climbers, and they've been performing in response to the support they're getting in the room. And I mean, let me tell you, it is full in here. There's got to be, they're sold out of their tickets. There's a couple hundred people in here for sure.
And a lot of people that wish they could get in but stayed outside. So props to Bloc Shop for, you know, filling the house.
Absolutely. Melissa crossing and holding. And Seb right away. Look, I mean, he's shaking like a leaf, but he's on it.
Elvis leg, yeah. Case of the Elvis leg, but that doesn't stop him.
No, I mean, I'm actually pretty impressed that he managed to stay on that foothold with the shake that he had going on there. And he's gonna try and, I think he's gonna try and step through with his right foot using this. So second guessing himself maybe of his footwork up there. Didn't want to release the right foot from the only good foothold on the boulder. Tried to step through, but unwinding that step through, really, really difficult. But he did make that first move look really quite easy.
Yeah, I think he knows what he needs to do. Perhaps not too sure about if he needs to get that left leg and match his feet on that bigger hold before stepping out to the right, but we'll see. He's got 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go.
Melissa urging the crowd to put a little more support in. Choosing to go left hand first this time. While Seb gets up and over, it's let down by his left foot this time.
Yeah, Melissa looking at her fingertips as she's falling off, and that's pretty much a sure sign that that's a heinous sloper that she's trying to match there. And you know, that's what the route setters told us. They told us that that was one of the hardest moves on that boulder. And then if you can, you know, match that, control it, and go to the left, and you can get perhaps a bit more of a rest before you get up into the last section of that boulder.
Yeah, you get a little bit of salvation from the bonus hold. It's a really good volume. So Seb back up in it. Oh, he's going to try and match his feet. Oh, my goodness. That would have been impressive. I mean, it's one thing to match when you've got something to hang on to for your hands. It's quite another when almost 100% of your body weight is on your one foot.
So we have a question, how many people were attending the semis? I would venture maybe 200 people, 300. Now there are 600 people in the gym.
It's full. It is full in here. Or was the question one maybe how many people climbed in qualifying?
Oh.
That I don't really know. I think maybe there was maybe 50 in the pro category in each side. I'd have to go check. I don't have that on hand. But if you mean a number of people, she's full in here. Seb is running out of gas. So after a first really strong attempt, he's getting diminishing returns.
And Melissa getting the crowd worked up for her final attempt with about a couple of seconds to spare before she needs to pull on.
Yeah, staring at the clock, both climbers as the shot clock runs out. Seb with an unfortunate slip, and Melissa just gonna stretch it out.
Oh, and her foot slips on the module, but the crowd lets her know that she's appreciated.
And remember that on a boulder like that, a foot slip isn't bad footwork, that's just core fatigue.
Yeah.
They're way stretched out across there, and they're not standing on footholds, they're standing on volumes. So they don't give you a lot of downward pressure. It's really hard to stay established. It takes a lot out of the lower half of your body to be able to move through those volumes as footholds. So definitely core intensive, powerful boulder for the ladies.
So Sean McCall calling Mika Flash on this slab. We'll see, but for now we'll have Falco Filato.
I like a bold statement. I like a bold prediction.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's on a roll. I mean, he's just climbed so well in the first two boulders, so that is as good a call as any.
Agreed. And I would say maybe this is a Petra Klingler style boulder here. She showed us some power earlier.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. On the attack. And PK's already there. He's already up there. Oh, yeah. PK's looking good. Woo!
Petra trying to find a
Oh,
really interesting heel-toe combination here and looking strong across that sloper.
and it's a big swing out left. Oh,
Wonderful stuff. Meanwhile, Falco making his way up the slab on his flash attempt. So we got a couple flashes on the go here. Falco just slipping, so we'll come back to Petra.
getting a knee scum in there.
Yeah, there's options in here, but you still have to make good decisions. And the top of this boulder is hard.
Oh, what a really strong first effort for Petra Klingler. Getting some really crafty heel and toe hook beta to match that heinous sloper. And when she swung out left, she just blessed and finessed that. And like was so strong.
She just, I mean, that's a thug move.
That's a thug move.
And she definitely showed it. She's got that thug power in there. Falco, you see the strain on his face to get that hand-foot match and that step up out of there.
Yeah, he's a taller climber, so high steps like that can be tough.
Quite a lot of time still on the clock for these guys. Petra's taking a lot of rest in between. And Falco's saving that. The toll that's going to take on that left shoulder. And he can't recover from the slip that put him in an uncomfortable position.
And that's interesting. Petra not even needing the same toe hook beta that she employed the first time around. Just really strong on this pinchy sloper.
Yeah, just figured it out. Couple of shakes. Thanks, Sean. We appreciate you. We'll see if she does something different. I mean, that. Yes, getting up into that undercling this time. So not going for the knee scum, put her in a better position to come out of that position. But you still have to work your way up those top two holds. Oh, Falco. Using all of his wingspan for balance and try that foot match. I like that what we're seeing here, Phil. I like that we're seeing hard boulders with progress being made. So it's not hard boulders where people are like, I can't do the first move, I can't do the first move, I can't do the first move. We're getting progress. People are falling off at various points all the way through them, so we get to see that people solving difficult movement. We get to see the differences in style in different movements across these boulders. So no, you haven't seen a lot of tops, but you've seen a lot of climbing.
Yeah, and you know, that's a really important point, Pete. I really love seeing competitors, you know, problem solve on the go and improve, and we're getting that from both these two competitors. Petra, you know, getting high up on those morpho pinches, higher up, and, you know, having touched those quite a few times myself and knowing that they're on a steep portion of the wall, you know that they're not that great.
Look at this footwork from Falco with a weird heel toe, but I don't know how he's going to get out of it. And he looked like he just sort of shrugged
And he's sort of crimping that bone.
He's like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of it either. So he did anything. The only thing he could do from that body position was try and go dynamically to the finish. And unfortunately, that was a long way. But you see, this is really good, a really good look at the balance that it took. And this little clever heel. Oh, that's the foot switch effort.
Yeah.
The time after that, he tried that clever little heel that got him up there, and then he was handcuffed, or foot cuffed, more accurately.
Foot cuff.
Is that a thing?
That's a new thing.
Foot
That's a new thing.
Yeah.
Trademark it, Pete.
You heard it here first. You can get foot cuffed on a slab boulder. And I would argue that I have been foot cuffed myself on slabs more than once. This would be my nightmare, to walk out and see this. I liked on that attempt where he looked down at his feet and he shrugged. Like, he kind of gave that laugh like, I really don't know what to do here, guys.
Yeah, but he gave it a crack, and I think that's really important, is to be able to think outside of the box, try something new, mix it up, and who knows. So props to Falco for trying that. But so far, only Jorg and his slab technique has managed to get problem 3 done also in quick fashion.
Yeah.
So.
Although we got Mikael Mauem, who is showing no signs tonight of that he's got anything on his mind other than topping all the boulders.
Right. And let's remember that Sean told us he thinks there's going to be a flash here. So
he did say that. Sean, we're just going to put that on the record for all to recall. You predicted a flash here, and we'll see what Katarina's got left in the tank after the fight from boulder number 2. She's going to go low. Look at this. Interesting decision making for sure.
Mika definitely does his pistol squats.
Oh, saving that slip. It would have knocked off many a lesser man. Wow.
And there you go. There you go.
He is currently showing you the gap that he's putting on these climbers tonight.
That's 3 tops and 2 flashes. So
that step through is not easy, Phil. Everyone else looked at it and couldn't extricate themselves from that. Jorg had to get square to get over there. And he, with his hips turned the wrong way, stepped through into that finish.
And we saw in the replay just the amount of, exertion was put through his right shoulder to be able to bear that step through. So, wow. Amazing work by Mika Mauem.
And now we can focus on Katarina, who works her way through this boulder.
Yeah, we can also congratulate Sean for his good prognosticating.
Yeah. Oh.
So Rob on the feed is saying, so Mika just won, right? Well, I think the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. So we've got our first place finisher after 3 blocks, but there's lots still to decide. We got some brushing. We got about a minute and a half. Then Mikael Mauem brushing Katarina's problem for her. A nice little piece of sportsmanship there.
One minute.
A good shakeout.
Yeah, over a minute to go.
One minute to go. Yeah, Dr. Stepp is going to get the crowd behind her on this last shot here. Katarina Sauerwein, what do you got left? What do you got left for us? Good body tension through here. Oh, sweet. New territory.
Yeah, and Katarina Sauerwein, I mean, she's not just good on plastic. She's put to rest a number of V13s in places like Australia or Rocky Mountain National Park, so.
She definitely has it. I mean, she matched the top of that sloper that was giving Petra fits. And then it looked like her footwork, her lower body tension just let her down there on that slip, unfortunately. Unable to get up past that point. So we're left with Kyra and Nathaniel. Do we boldly say that Kyra does to this boulder what she has done to the others? I feel that the correct answer is yes.
I think so too, Pete.
I think
So you heard it, Dr. Stepp calling Nate the Great.
still in the running for a podium.
Currently sitting in 5th, but he's yet to get up on this third boulder.
Right now, one top puts you on the podium on the men's side of the field. Kyra coming through low feet. He's going to do a quick power check here and then opt to go heel hook at least. Choosing not to match.
Didn't need to.
Didn't need to. So someone had asked earlier if we were going to see a Puccio one-hand 360. You're going to get the equivalent, which is Kyra Condi just crushing these holds. Looking for the feet and not needing them.
Wow.
Wow, that's your moment right there. Yeah, I mean, what do we tell you? Nathaniel is making decisions here. This moment of choosing how to come off this hold.
And it's really interesting how he managed to get his left foot on that hold, lower down on that big hold, because everybody else did not manage to do that.
They didn't manage to get the switch. We were busy watching Kyra flash that. So we'll see him. We'll get to see him try it again. So we'll see how he did that forward piece again. I would suggest that you won't see a cleaner flash of a powerful boulder than what we just saw Kyra do.
Well, it wasn't actually a flash. It was her second go. She slipped off her first burn, but
true.
You know, she still gets the stop points.
Yeah. And
not
you
the
look
flash
at
points, but
you look at the way she tries to decide what foot to use and then just says, you know what? I don't need it. I do not need it. So was looking for the ideal right foot and with power to spare just said, I'll just toss for it.
And Dominic Speranza on the chat is saying, so Kyra just won as well, right? Well, yes, she has won. So our two winners are decided so far for the Bloc Shop Open 2018. And now it's a matter of bragging rights for everybody else to see who's going to come in second and third.
Although Ty's saying if Melissa flashes problem 4 and Kyra doesn't do it, then that's the gap that we have.
All right, yeah.
So, yes.
Thanks, Tyler.
There is room.
There is room. Let us hope or be open to that possibility.
Yeah, so a flash from Melissa and a Kyra not doing the last boulder would have a flip of those of that 1-2 spot right now. But with 25 seconds to go, we're going to get one more shot from Nathaniel, who has not regained the high point that he got right away on this boulder. So very careful now, no slips. Gotta be cautious.
He's on the plus. He's on the plus. It's happening now, bro. It's happening now. Go, Nate.
No, so not going back to his original foot beta.
So you know what, Nate?
So feeling the burn as we watch the smoothness with which Mikael did this. This step through, I assure you, hips out like this, the smoothness that he did this move, that takes a lot of core tension.
Amazing.
Big smile from Cairo on her top. So we're down to our last boulder. We finally get a look at the way these two stalactites are going to climb. And one more powerful boulder for the men. So,
and Dr. Step,
shirt off,
showing us his b-boy honed body.
Yeah, that's true. Getting the crowd into it for our last boulder. So don't go anywhere. Come back down, sit in front of your TV. One boulder to go. Still some decisions to be made. So yes, we have a winner on the men's side, but we have podium spots up for grabs, and we have room on the women's side. So for the gentlemen, right now we're looking at Mikael Maiwem in first place, as we discussed. Jörg Verhoeven with one top in 2 zones, and then Seb Lazur with no tops in 2 zones. So a flip here, Seb could podium to second place with a flash. And the decisions from Jörg not to get to the top of the zones. Oh, we're going to look at the list. Sorry, we're up online with it. So there's room for Katerina, Petra, and Melissa to shuffle around.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Okay, we'll bring up the men's side now. I'll show you what that looks like. Maybe. As you say, so Mika at the top, Jörg with the top in 2 zones, Seb with no tops but 2 zones. So a top from Seb here would put him in the running, especially if Jörg does not get to the bonus. That would put Seb in second place. And then Falco in about the same position with 2 zones already. So room to move for these guys into the last bowl. There's still a lot to fight for. A couple of podium spots. We see Nora gives us our first look around, as mentioned, the wedding cake boulder.
Yeah, that's one of the names we had for it. So thanks, Benjamin, for putting that out. We also were talking about elephant trunks.
Yep.
So yeah, really creative boulder. I don't know how many volumes. You can count them. 1, 2, 3, 5 volumes per stalactite.
And it just shifting angles, not great feet. Kind of love it. Creativity is required. You got to show these guys and these ladies things they haven't seen before. You can't just keep giving them the same holds in the same order. You've got to give them something to throw them off. Sand down a volume, sand down a foothold, create dual texture. All of these hold companies, maybe heard Tony in the beginning when we had our interview there, discussing what the hold companies are trying to do to make new things, to create new boulders, to provide more creativity for these route setters so that we can test these climbers to a greater and greater degree.
Yeah, on the men's side, it looks a bit more straightforward, but it's really powerful. And, you know, this is what they intended. There's about 4 moves, and they're all big.
Big, powerful. Good way to finish a comp. It should be exciting. They'll be swinging around when they stick that bonus hold. If they get it established and reel it back in again, the crowd's going to really like that kind of behavior. They want to do that. So, I mean, you don't hear it very often, but remember that the route setters are trying to create a show. So it's a competition and it's a show. So they want to make it exciting for the crowd. They want to make it exciting for you guys at home. So they want to create things that provide interesting, exciting movement, opportunities for, you know, last-minute saves.
So there are some jibs screwed onto the side of these wedding cakes, and Nora's got her right hand on one of them. She seems to have found a comfortable stance.
She's looking back at the clock. She's been on this thing for a while after a couple tries to get up here. Happy with a bonus.
Oh, and Jorg has just stuck that just as Nora was swinging out.
Great example of Jorg's body's tension and strength. And you saw it was a little bit of an, oh my goodness.
Yeah, great climbing out of Jorg.
You're talking about a guy that has climbed V14, V15 in his day, has podiumed at World Cups. He's old by World Cup competitive standards.
But not by ours.
But not by our standards. The man is only 33. When you're competing against 25, 20-year-olds, it's, you know, you're a little bit older. But he put everything he had into it. A good round. So you're going to say he didn't top any boulders, but a really strong effort from Jorg. And a really good round.
He's just retired from the IFSC this year, so props to Jorg for such an illustrious career. And
here's Nora making her way back up into the bonus. Great work from this 14-year-old tonight in front of a really big crowd, climbing against some really heavy hitters.
Yeah, good job on Nora Chi for just making her way into finals at age 14. And yeah, working really hard. The crowd loves it.
The volumes, the wedding cake volumes have a ton of texture, just for the record. All right, Alyssa Weber and Ray Hansen coming out for their last show of the evening. Alyssa coming off a good season last year where she ended up 5th at Nationals. That's sort of, she's perennially locally on podiums, and then is really knocking on the podium door for Nationals. A little bit of World Cup experience this year, just sort of starting to make those decisions about getting onto the World Cup circuit. We said 4th place last year at this comp. She'll be looking to top a Boulder here.
Well, they're looking good. Second of those 2 cakes.
Yeah, so Raymond Hansen trying to find that hold, and you know, it reminds us of the fact that it is a bit blind when you're going out to it, because from where you're starting off, you may see a bit of tape, you may see the bonus sort of symbol, but at the same time, you won't be seeing that hold. So it's you need really good hand-eye coordination and good contact strength to latch that.
And good sort of quick motor decision-making to come around that corner and realize where you've got to grab, fold your hand down on it, and then maintain that contact strength all the way through. It's I have been reading off and on over the last year and a bit. Jackie Gooduff wrote a book called My Keys to Root Setting, which is a wonderful read. It teaches you a lot about movement and climbing and the mindset of a root setter. And he definitely has a profile for risk, intensity, and complexity, and likes to maintain that over the styles of different boulders. And this one's got all three.
And Raymond showing he can learn and adapt, getting higher up on that boulder than he did before. He opted to get to hold the dimension volume with his left hand. There's not much there, so.
No, I would argue that I would say nothing.
Right. That's what I was alluding to. So I think Jorg's beta that we saw, but that he didn't manage to actually do, which is to get a deep drop knee in, would probably be the best bet.
And then just jump out.
Right.
So no need to try and control statically into that second last right hand hold, but just to jump through. So Alyssa making progress. Oh.
Yeah, and you can see Raymond having the pain. You can almost feel that pain with him, because with so much climbing been done this whole weekend, and this is his final boulder, that is unless he decides to put his shoes back on after the comp, but, you know.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it, and you have to ignore how sore your skin is. You have to ignore all of the messages that your body is sending you about don't try it again, and then you just gotta buckle down and try it again. So that there's more to the mental game than get up off the mat every time you fall. There's the decision to grab a hold that you really, really wish you didn't have to grab.
There we go. A young Raymond getting the crowd riled up. We like to see that.
Taking what it needs. Oh, and almost having it work for him. So here we go. Alyssa's going to push and pull onto the start for her last wrestle of the night. And we're going to see Raymond take it down to about 2 seconds. One more big. You see that's, and he held it all the way to extension. I'm just unable to generate the power to reel it back in. Well, Alyssa Weber going to be very careful through here. As we said, you're standing on really big holds that aren't facing in the right direction for you to oppose. You're stepping straight down on something that's got friction but not a lot of directionality.
No, it's really tenuous. You can see her being hesitant there, but
and then just putting everything into it and not having enough left in the tank to hold the required amount of power in that last movement. It's a great effort from those two as well over the course of the evening.
So this is an important moment, because we've got two climbers that can actually hope to be on the podium coming out, with Melissa Leneve and Sébastien Lazure.
Yep.
So let's see what they can do.
Everything to gain at this point. Love to see Seb on the podium in Montreal in a comp of this size. Love to see it.
Yeah, and Seb did really well last year. He came, well, actually he was in finals last year, and now he's looking to improve upon that result. He came in 6th, so trying to protect home turf.
Yep. And there's a little pause here while they're trying to work the crowd up a little bit before these two come out. Not that they need any working up for Melissa and Sébastien. Yeah. But we're
can throw some liquid chalk over here, Dr. Stepp. My palms are sweaty.
I wouldn't say no.
Palms are sweating from all this intense sports action, Pete.
Yeah, it's been a good night. Like I said, we've seen a lot of rock climbing tonight, and a lot of full effort, people taking it down to the wire. Nobody giving up across the board here. Nobody wants to come away without thinking they've put in the best effort they could have to get up these boulders. So, yeah, it can be hard to climb through a whole round without any tops. Of course it can. That's a mental kick in the teeth. But everyone has showed really good poise through the entire round. Everyone's come out smiling on every boulder and basically looked like, you know what, I might not have topped before, I might not top the next one, but I'm going to put everything I have into this try and this boulder every single time. So, love to see it. No complaints with how well all of these competitors have performed this evening. They put a lot of love into it. Sébastien Lazure, Melissa Leneve. Podium's on the line.
Yeah, and we've had questions on the chat about these volumes, the wedding cake volumes that Melissa is currently knee barring into. Well, you know, they're from Délire, climbing gym in Quebec, and that, you know, make holds and volumes. So props to Délire for making all these great climbing tools and holds and
keeping it interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Providing new options, new ways to create movement.
And it's interesting to see Melissa's beta because instead of opting for perhaps a more you know, feet out option on the right stalactite, she's decided to really
hugging it. Yeah,
wrestle that left one, and yeah, it came peeling off, but what an effort.
Yeah, she's going to be glad she's wearing pants, right? To have got both knees squeezing around those volumes with the texture that's on them, you would definitely feel that tomorrow. You know you've climbed in a comp when your knees have scrapes on them.
Right.
Seb ruefully looking at his fingertips. He's got a small right-hand crimp, and the bonus again, if you come off of that, you're going to feel the size of that crimp every time you miss it. And see the little puffs of chalk come up as they miss. Melissa really staring at this thing with that, what am I going to do to put in less movement than last time to get to the same place?
Yeah, I can't say this is looking like the easiest beta, but she's proving that she's got a lot of pebble wrestling skills here.
Yeah, and incredible contact strength. The left hand, there's nothing there. She has a thumb catch and a very small crimp on the side of that volume. But it is not that good. And then she can get her left foot there, finally one foothold.
Such a huge battle by Melissa Leneve.
Yeah, she's gonna drop a heel hook back here.
She's actually got a toe scum.
A lot of body tension to hold this if she sticks this move.
Oh.
Oh, Seb swinging on that volume. 1 minute to go.
Yeah, he's feeling the pain, just like Raymond before him. Skin must be, you know, not in a good place, and this is the last minute.
Yeah, and to keep a swinging shot at third place, he's really going to want to establish this bonus. He's got to stay ahead of Falco and Nathaniel, who've got a shot with a bonus to get into third place. So Seb, with 33 seconds to go, needs to stick this bonus to maintain the best hope of a podium spot. And Melissa's going to wind it up, get the crowd going. A little bit of time to go. So they're both going to let it wind down. You can probably hear how loud it is in here. Crowd favorites pulling on for their last try of the night. And that's going to do it for Sébastien Lazure. So no tops, but a great round from him. Very close to boulder number 2.
Melissa is just
wedged in there.
Yeah, and she's got her right hand on a foothold, and wow.
And a little
display
bump
of tenacity.
match. Yes, that's the good word for it, is tenacity. Wow. And the amount of work to get that left foot onto the foothold that you really do need to get past here. All of that effort just to get established.
Trying to. Wow.
Stick with the toe hook. What's left in those shoulders? Melissa Leneve.
Managing to try to rest. Oh.
You can't try a lot harder than that. She looks exhausted, as you might think. And then a beer.
Yeah, that's a well-deserved beer, folks. The crowd loving everything she's done so far, and I don't think she'll be winning this time around because Kyra Kondi is unstoppable.
Yeah, and we got Petra Klinger already ahead on attempts. So that's Melissa going to remain in 4th place. Alyssa and Nora are going to be 5th and 6th. And now we're down to Petra, Katerina slugging it out for the podium spots. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Melissa Leneve currently sitting in 2nd place with Petra nipping at her heels here. So that 3rd zone will be interesting. It'll come down to tries if Petra gets a top here. So Petra's got room to get onto the podium. It'll come down to attempts. Falco planning his approach. It's been a while since they looked at these boulders, so they're going to need a little quick reminder for sure. Falco can get himself into a podium position with a top here, put himself in a great spot for 3rd. Maybe even 2nd based on attempts. It's just hard to read the app the way the scores are put in, but Falco definitely has room to get on the podium, 2nd or 3rd place, and I think there's definitely still room for Nathaniel Coleman to get in there as well. But lots to go down. Lots to go down in these last couple climbers on these last boulders. We watch Petra fight her way around these wedding cakes.
Yeah, and she's opting for the stemming beta we've seen Nora and Alyssa employ, which I think is definitely a lot less intensive than what we saw Melissa use, and she's found a sort of comfortable stem in there. I don't know how comfortable it is though, but
maybe comfortable is not the right word. It's secure for now, and then how easy is it going to be to extricate from? She's got to reach a long way to get her left hand on that hold.
Yeah, and you can see the left foot jib out to the left of the left hand stalactite. So that's a key foothold to be able to get to the bonus in a secure fashion.
Yeah, so she's wedged in happily, but really got to work hard to get back out onto the face of this volume.
Yeah, just a bit out of reach of that little jib. Bit of an undercling sort of pinch.
Moving inches at a time.
I don't know if she's seen it, though. Or
It looks like she's thinking about going straight
the
up.
bonus, yeah.
That was the way. Yeah.
So a whole lot of fight for not enough return.
Let's go, Falco.
Falco, maybe a slip, maybe running out of gas. He definitely looks tired.
Yeah, still a minute and 10 seconds to go.
There we go. That's better from Petra. Finding that knee bar that we saw Melissa pull out.
And the crowd chanting PK for Petra Klingler.
So Falco trying to go right hand, sort of as he runs out of ideas on boulder number 4.
So Petra.
Knee scum, double knee scums, but it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, basically everything getting put in here. Shoulder jam, knee scums. So as intended, these two big volumes are forcing these women to just wrestle their way up this 4th boulder, and it's just burning time and energy every attempt.
Yeah, and we're out of time now, so that's it for Falco. Meanwhile, uncharted territory for Petra.
But that heel hook sticks. Will she bump or cross? Oh my goodness.
Wow.
She'll chalk, I guess, is the answer to that question. So she's
getting a toe hook there.
Feeling confident, I think,
wow.
to be able to chalk up both and
looking
smiling.
At the crowd.
Oh dear. Ever closer. Can she finish?
Wow!
Oh, she holds the swing.
Oh my God, that
my
was
goodness.
An intense top.
That was very tense. After smiling at the crowd, slipping, and then still needing to make more than 2 or 3 movements. Really good effort. Petra Klingler, so happy right now.
And what's great is that she hadn't even touched the upper section.
Uncharted territory.
Yeah, up until her last go, and just completely improvised, smeared, pinched, and wow.
Heel hook where there isn't a heel hook.
Yeah, look at her just wrapping her arm around. That's a great replay, you know. I think she's well accustomed to these big holds, and as she's seen them on the World Cup circuit, but wow.
And he wasn't sure even right here. And then able to hold the swing.
So boulder number 4 has been topped for the ladies, but number 4 for the men, not as of yet, but we got Mikael Mauwem, who's just proven to be unstoppable tonight.
Exactly.
He's topped everything else, flashed boulders 2 and 3. So
this, I think we'll see our first top here. I wouldn't be surprised. The question was, what's the prize? $3,000 for first, $2,000 for second, and $1,000 for third place. So really, a lot of money on the line for these guys. This is the biggest payout comp in Canadian history for 2 years in a row. And this is, as we've discussed, it's absolutely a good thing to get this kind of money into comps and get people coming out and competing and working for this. it's hard to do. The gyms have to work really hard. You have to do a lot to bring the sponsors in, to bring the money in. But the climbers will travel if you give them a well-run comp, and then you make the cash purse worth the travel time. So I love to see it. This is it's changing the face, hopefully, of big-time comps in Canada. And I for one could not be happier that the Bloc Shop has decided to make this an annual event. Katerina working into the wedding cakes, and you just saw on the corner of your screen Mika trying to dyno to the bonus and the flat underside of a dimension volume.
Yeah, we saw Falco also trying to do that, you know, but I think, let's see what Mika actually gets to do.
Yeah. Wow, okay then.
There you go.
Okay. So yeah, that's one way to do it.
Wow.
I misunderstood the amount of squeeze that he had brought with him tonight. Getting that back drop knee.
Oh! Wow. Just got the left side of that top hold, but yeah, and it's another blind throw, but wow.
Really good effort. A guarded crimp, so you got to get it right. You have to be super, super accurate on the top of that.
Yeah.
So close enough to touch it with 2 minutes to go. And Petra, making really good progress, and then just having a foot slip. So you're going to get a really good look at how hard it is to hit this last hold and how much effort. Look, so much squeeze.
And Katerina, she was holding her shoulder just there. So
maybe feeling it a little bit. She's got some sports tape on there. Show you that she's maybe working on a strain, at least protecting something from the qualifying and semifinal round. Minute 20 to go. You saw on that replay, you saw that Mikael really just got 2 fingers in this finish hold.
Yeah.
So if he comes through and sticks to the middle, arguably it's deeper in the middle as well. It tapers off at that sort of half moon shape. So arguably he gets his fingers in the middle. That's going to be a stick.
Yeah, and you can actually see, you can see Mika's chalk mark on the final hold just to the left of that green tape.
He sticks that, I mean, just unlikely dyno.
And that's not really how the route setters intended it.
No, there's no chalk on that volume, which is, if the route setters had tried that dyno, there would have been chalk there. Look at the fight. He's going to go without bringing his foot up that time.
28 seconds to go, and let's see if Kata can get a good effort, get to the bonus.
Mika's going to let it run down.
Yeah, wise choice from veteran Kata.
Yep.
And meanwhile, there's no such rest stance on boulder number 4 for the men, so Mika's got to go all out for one last time.
One last time.
And you know what? He's won this comp, so this is for style points.
Yeah, this is for, and he changed his body position to get up higher.
Oh.
Everything into that last try from both of these climbers. Katarina coming off, past the bonus. Mika Mawem going out in style. Very, very, very nearly.
And gets his
sticking
beer
the
too.
last move.
Well deserved.
Well deserved beer.
Don't shake it too much. You need to drink that. All right. So the last 2 climbers are coming out here. We've got Nathaniel Coleman and Kyra Condi. And it's confirmed that Kyra has won with 3 tops. No one can reach her so far.
But we can have Nathaniel Coleman on the podium with a top here. Or, actually no, we can get Nathaniel Coleman on the podium if he sticks to the zone. So Nathaniel with a stick of the bonus will get himself 3rd place. And Kyra is doing it for the gravy. So, in her style that we've seen so far over this weekend, I would say that she would have no problem with the top of this boulder. But let's see what her wrestling skills are like on the bottom of this boulder.
Yeah. Oh.
Last 4 minutes of the comp, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking with us. Bloc Shop 2018. Kyra Condi, Nathaniel Coleman.
Yeah, and stick
taking
around
us home.
because we'll want to have some parting thoughts with the champs.
Yeah, we're going to have room between the posting of the results and the podium. So if you stick around the live stream, you'll get an interview with each of the winners. So we'll get that out for you right away. We've asked them to come over. So hopefully they remember that they made us a promise. And we'll get Mikael and Kyra over here for interviews before the podium. So you'll get some insights from these guys, how they feel after a round like this on a win like this. So Nathaniel might very well know that sticking the zone here will give him a podium spot, depending on what he thinks has gone before based on the crowd noise. But of course, what he wants to do is top the boulder.
Right. And that's $1,000 on the line for Nathaniel.
Yep.
So
when's the last time that you had to stick one hold for $1,000, Phil?
that's never happened to me.
It's never happened to me either. I've got a couple of side bets in the gym for $1 a shot, and even that's too much pressure. So Kyra moving very cleanly through the bottom.
Wow.
And just body tension like a board through here.
Yeah, toast coming with ease.
Really impressive. Really impressive. With the comp already in hand.
So
topping all 4 boulders.
She's had an unstoppable weekend, like just climbed the top the 4 boulders in the semis, top the 4 boulders in the finals, flashed 2 of them.
Really good stuff. She's really glad she made the trip. So Nathaniel Coleman, 2 minutes to stick this bonus. So he's opting for this dyno. He sees the chalk on there, and if they talked about it, he's now thinking that it was successful for someone else.
Which it was.
Which it was. However, it was successful for who was proven to be the strongest man of the final round. No doubt.
And, you know, 2-time winner. The only male winner of the Bloc Shop Opens. So
the crowd is just going to hum its way along until he sticks that. I think then we'll just hear the roof go off in here. You get a good replay at the smoothness. Getting a toe scum and then just not worried by the swing at all.
Yeah, that's a great replay. We've had an amazing camera crew here on the production side of things, making all those images available to us.
Yep. Nathaniel trying to heel hook the unheel hookable.
42 seconds left.
Crowd getting worked up. Crowd getting worked up for this. Painfully close.
He's again just 1 stick out of $1,000, so I would take that.
I would right down to the wire. 10 seconds to go. Get one more. One more try.
He's going to go for it. Let's go, Nathaniel.
In my heart, I want to see Seb stay in 3rd place, but for excitement. Oh, wow! Oh, wow! Nathaniel Coleman at zeros makes the stick. Can he reel it in for a top here? Crowd is going crazy. He's making decisions. Just gonna jump. With everything on the line and no time on the clock, Nathaniel Coleman showing you what it looks like to dig down into the bottom of the bag and pull out every last ounce. ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. So don't go anywhere. We're going to hang out sort of flat here while they finalize the results, and then we're going to bring back the winners for a quick winners interview, and then we'll get to the podium. So don't go anywhere. Hang out. We'll be right back as soon as we can get the winners back over here.
Celui qui me fait le plus de push-up win this mattress. Allez, just stay ici. Qui qu'il veut, show up. I got one contestant. Un participant. 2, 3, 4, 5. OK. OK. All right. OK, faites une ligne. Faites une belle ligne pour qu'on vous voit. OK? Une belle ligne pour qu'on vous voit. Tu fais le plus de push-up sans arrêt. Si tu arrêtes, you're out. En position. On va commencer le ventre à terre. OK, le ventre à terre. OK, placez-vous, prenez votre place. Soyez sûr que tout le monde a ta place. OK? Vous avez de la place encore dans le fond. Oui. Il y a de la place dans le fond. Recule ou avance. Alors, mais le monde en avant, on check ceux qui sont out, hey, toi, t'es out. OK? OK? Attends, il y a du monde qui se place. OK. J'en ai deux autres qui s'en viennent. Ils se placent, OK. Fred s'en vient. Ah oui, Fred, prends ta gorgée. OK. Sans arrêt. Fais des push-ups non-stop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Go. Yes. C'est ça que j'aime avec les grimpeurs. La discipline du conditionnement physique, ils l'ont. Don't stop. That's it. Don't stop. There's no pain. No pain. J'ai check. Easy d'être à la place. Elle vient de faire une compétition de malade mentale. Elle est là encore. Éliminé. On a donc perdu un. 2, Fred, éliminé. On n'arrête pas, on les check. On continue. Éliminé. Eliminated. Don't stop. Eliminated. Don't stop. Eliminated. Keep going. Keep going. Eliminated. Keep going. T'es là encore. Continue. That's it. Eliminated. J'en ai 1, 2, 3, 4. Eliminated. Keep going, guys. Keep going.
Donc, on est de retour. We're back. This interview will be in French with the winner, Mika Mawem. Ta deuxième fois ici au Bloc Shop Open et le même résultat, 2 victoires. Comment est-ce qu'on se sent?
C'est vraiment cool parce qu'en fait, Tu vois, je viens pas vraiment pour la compète. Je viens pour ce qui se passe là autour. On entend le bruit derrière là. Et il y a beaucoup d'énergie. C'est ce que je dis depuis le début. Je suis pas venu pour gagner. Je suis venu pour donner de l'énergie et qu'on me rende de l'énergie et que tout ça se mélange. Et c'est ce qui se passe et le résultat vient avec. Et tant mieux.
Ben, c'est fou la relation que tu as avec la foule. On sent que tu es à l'affût de cette énergie-là, qu'elle te nourrit. Et en fait, tu as donné tout un spectacle là, aux spectateurs ici. Mika, dis-moi, il y a quelques semaines à Innsbruck, on t'a vu, tu avais l'air très en forme. Est-ce que tu te sens en ce moment en train de, comment dire en anglais, piquer? Est-ce que tu sens qu'en ce moment, tu es dans un pic là, de forme? Là?
On va dire, c'est pas la forme. J'ai réglé quelques petites choses dans mes entraînements, mais on va dire qu'on va prendre un mot, c'est que je pense que voilà, j'ai trouvé le flow, quoi. Ma façon de grimper, mon état d'esprit pendant la compétition. Et pour l'instant, depuis les 3 dernières compétitions, ça marche bien. Et voilà, j'ai pas changé physiquement, techniquement, non, j'ai juste changé l'état d'esprit, comment j'aborde les compétitions. Et je les aborde à fond avec le sourire, je kiffe ça. Et pour l'instant, je me sens bien.
C'est contagieux l'énergie. Dis-moi, là, il y a une coupe de compétition peut-être hors circuit, la Coupe du Monde, tant pour le Bloc. Je ne sais pas, il y a peut-être encore des compétitions de vitesse. C'est quoi tes intentions d'ici la fin de l'année 2018 et c'est quoi que la suite nous réserve pour Michael Mawem?
Ben là, clairement, je me stoppe avec le Bloc Shop. Voilà, c'était la dernière compétition pour moi cette saison. Importante parce que c'est important de venir au Bloc Shop parce que c'est démentiel. Mais voilà, moi les objectifs, ça va être dès avril prochain. Il y a les premières sélections, ça va commencer les sélections pour les Jeux Olympiques. Donc dès avril prochain, il faut que je sois au triple taquet, ça veut dire en forme, physiquement comme mentalement, pour aller décrocher cette place là pour les Jeux Olympiques.
Ben, en tout cas, Michael, c'est sûr qu'on te la souhaite cette place-là pour les
Merci.
Jeux Olympiques. On va suivre tes entraînements sur ton Instagram, là, les frères Mawem. C'est toujours
là.
Il faut y aller. Si vous ne regardez pas ça, Instagram, les frères Mawem, vous allez pouvoir suivre Mika. Je te souhaite que le meilleur pour la suite et une belle célébration ce soir, Mika.
Grave, on va fêter ça. Fêter ça aussi. Hein.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with your ladies champion, Kyra Condi. What a fantastic round. What a great semifinal round. And then what a fantastic finals round. You were just saying earlier when we were standing there, you actually weren't sure that you had won.
Yeah, when we were back in ISO, you really couldn't tell if it was the female climber or the male climber who had topped. And so it was like you could tell when people were excited, you could hear the crowd, but because we were staying out until both climbers were finished, you didn't know who it was. So
yeah, no one was coming back early.
So I couldn't tell who was topping what, and so I was like, okay, gotta top the last one, hopefully.
Yeah, and you did top everything. And so what was your favorite boulder? I like to know, I'm curious, because the styles are so different. What was your favorite boulder of the round?
I think number 2 was probably the most fun.
Yeah.
It was a cool coordination move, and then I like crimps, so that was a good one. And then I like how hard number 3 was. It was cool. It was really cool to try really hard on the boulder.
Yeah, and that was as intended from the route setters. We have their notes sitting here, was that number 3 was supposed to be physically the most difficult boulder, and also there was so many options that it wasn't just straightforward grab and move, that you had to think and work and squeeze and bump your way along.
Yeah, it definitely went a little bit differently than we expected it to go. I didn't read it as that big crossover. I read it more as I thought it was going to be a right-left, but the volume with the right hand was way worse than I thought it was going to be. So
right.
I was like, okay, we're going again.
And then even at the top, when you got up to the top on those last 2 holds and you were looking for a right foot and looking for a right foot, and then you see that moment in your brain when you're like, you know what, I don't need a right foot.
Yeah, it's like I really wanted one, and I was like, oh, I don't want to fall on this move. I don't know if I can get here again. It was kind of that type of moment, So I was like, okay, just try really hard.
And just throw the hammer down and pull it out. So you haven't competed in any World Cups?
No, I did a bunch this year.
A bunch of World Cups this year, but first season.
It was my first season doing more than one, actually, yeah. I've always been in school doing the other ones, and so I couldn't go to the international ones. And I've only ever done really Vail. And then this year I did the 2 China ones, the one in Japan, Vail, and Munich, and World Champs.
And so how did that feel? How was your sort of introduction to a more of a full World Cup schedule? What was that like?
It was great. You know, it's awesome to get to climb with the international climbers. I usually climb alone or, you know, with like our small group of people in Minnesota. And so getting to that experience of climbing with everybody is just awesome. You get to know everybody a lot better. And so that was really cool.
You feel like your climbing gets that boost, that jump in the knowledge of how hard you have to work? Does that help you out almost immediately? Is it a bit of a slow burn over the season?
Well, the thing that helps the most is that you usually compete one weekend and then you compete again the next weekend. And so the first weekend, like when I was in China the first time, it like was not so great. And then the next weekend I competed again and it was so much better. I made finals.
Right.
And so it was like, yeah, huge difference.
It's an immediate improvement. And is it your plan to be able to have more World Cup seasons? Are you going to? Is it college? Is it climbing? What's in the next season for you?
Yeah, I actually graduated from college last year, so
Sweet.
I just finished, and I'm gonna take some time off and rock climb.
Awesome.
Yeah, do competitions, focus on training and stuff. So I'm really excited to like finally be able to focus and not have to do everything else.
And you are the Bloc Shop 2018 champion. How did it feel? How did this compare to some of the comps you've been at over the last couple of years?
You know, it was great. The atmosphere is amazing. Everyone here is super friendly. You know, it's cool to be in, like, we were staying in a house with all the athletes, and like, so we've gotten to spend a lot of time together and cook together and
Sweet.
go and be tourists a little bit. So
Is this your first time in Montreal?
It is my first time here. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Are you taking a little bit of extra time to explore the city?
Sadly not. I have to leave tomorrow night, but we did get to explore a little bit before the competition and stuff. So
Sweet. Well, we're obviously glad you came. We're obviously glad you threw down. You put on a show for us. All the tops in the semis, all the tops in the final. And I mean, I wish the best for you in your World Cup season. I'm actually going to be in Minneapolis for the Bouldering Project comp.
Oh, awesome.
So if you're going to climb in that one, I will see you then. And it was really, really cool watching you climb. Style, power, grace. It was fantastic.
Well,
and
thank
congratulations on a well-deserved win this weekend.
Thanks.
And
it was a great time.
I'm sure we're going to see great results from you on the World Cup.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Yeah.
come out in French as well. Hey guys, we're back. We're going to give you a little bit of a very brief recap here and then let you come through and watch the podiums. Bloc Shop Open 2018, we're done. All the boulders have been worked on. The time has expired. I hope you guys had a great time watching this. In the room, the energy in here was fantastic. I really, really hope that the Bloc Shop continues to do this comp every year because I think it's important for Canadian climbing. I think it's important for you guys at home to be able to watch comps like this that are getting put on in your home country. And I had a great time. Phil, I love working with you, so I had a great time working with you this weekend.
Right on. It's definitely a mutual feeling, and yeah, absolutely, it was a great comp. Only one boulder did not get topped, and that's boulder number 4 for the men. So if you're looking at it from a route setter's perspective, it's actually a really, a job well done on their side.
It's a successful round for sure.
Absolutely, and just the creativity of the boulders. We saw those Delir stalactites. We saw, some slab minimalism.
Yep.
We were in for a treat, and this edition did not get disappointed in any way.
And there was no chance it was going to. So let's recap the results for you. Kyra Condi topping all 4 boulders in first place. Petra Klingler in second place with 2 tops and 4 zones. And then Melissa Lenevi in third place with 2 tops and 3 zones. Then we had Katerina, Alyssa, and Nora rounding out the top for the women's field.
Yeah, there we go. We got the results up there. So impressive show of strength by Kyra Condi, just dominating this final and making short work of these boulders.
And she even just said when we were just chatting right at the end here, before we got up on this on camera, that when the boulders are too easy, she doesn't climb them as well. So she climbs better on hard boulders.
Yeah, that's amazing, and you can understand that because you're running on instinct. And look at her right here, this replay of her like stabbing her foot out, just trying to find that comfortable spot that just didn't exist, and committing, as you mentioned earlier, to just saying, hey, I'm getting this. And
she said she didn't know if she could do the beginning again, and was no way she was going to fall at the top. So let's pop up the men's results.
Yeah, just a sec.
We'll walk you through those. Just make sure everybody knows what we're looking at. So first, Mikael with 3 tops and 4 zones. Jörg Verhoeven with a top and 3 zones. Nathaniel Coleman at the buzzer, sticking the bonus.
Yeah, look at that, 10 attempts to get that zone.
Yeah.
Those are 10 worthwhile attempts to get $1,000.
Yeah.
So props to Nathaniel Coleman. And then we've got our 2 local climbers, Seb Lazur, Falco Filato in 4th and 5th. And Raymond Hansen coming from New York, young up-and-comer who, got the crowd riled up, did some really nice moves on some of these boulders.
Yep.
So well done to him.
And don't look at this and think no tops means a bad round for any of the route setters or the crowd or the climbers. Everybody got worked. Everybody worked really hard to get where they got to. And the boulders were hard as they needed to be able to split this field out the way they did. So yeah. I had a wonderful time. We appreciate you guys watching online. We appreciate you that come back and watch. We appreciate everybody that comes in and pays to come and watch the finals, gets their tickets. Support your sponsors. Huge thanks to our sponsors. On-site North Face at the top end partners. And then we got Scarpa as a gold level sponsor that helped put this event on. You guys make it happen. If you're not watching, then what are we broadcasting for? So thanks for watching. And please, every time you see a comp that you can watch live stream, get on there, watch it, put your sport behind it. Thanks for watching.
Merci à tout le monde. Merci à l'équipe, les organisateurs, les bénévoles, sans qui ça ne pourrait pas avoir lieu. Alors, du fond du cœur, de toute l'équipe ici, un grand merci à tous ceux qui ont participé, qui ont vu sur le live feed avec Pete et moi. Ça a été un plaisir de chatter avec vous sur YouTube puis d'échanger avec vous sur un sport qu'on adore. Fait que merci et à la prochaine en 2019 pour le prochain Bloc Shop Open.
Absolument. Merci Phil.
Merci Pete.
Bonsoir tout le monde. We'll see you later.
Elle a su se démarquer en